Hi, everybody. We're going to do a cash game study session with cards face up, and we're going to watch me lose 8 buy-ins this weekend. So what I've done
That's
is
hard to achieve, Scotty.
I
Congratulations.
can thank you. Thank you. It's all skill, all skill. I owe it all to Jonathan Little and pokercoaching.com and you guys for all your support. Um, so one of the things that we've discovered in the past, other than some people play weird, uh, from these all hands face up is that the biggest pots generally are not coolers. Someone did something very wrong. So what I've done is these are just the biggest pots from Saturday and Sunday that I played. So they're not in order, but we're going to see how many of them I misplayed and like that. All
So
right.
these are from the pool, any pot above a certain
Yeah, exactly.
size at
I
river.
grabbed everything that was bigger than I think 25 big blinds.
Okay, it's a good plan.
Or maybe no, 50 big blinds probably. Anyway, they're
Can
all
I
there.
ask you just
Yeah.
a more general strategy question?
Yes.
So I can we safely describe your strategy as largely red line driven? Is that a safe estimation?
That's what my results are, although I don't know that my strategy is that.
Okay.
So looking at here, let's look at Poker Tracker and let's look at a graph here. Let's look at the games. Okay, we're going for Hold'em. We're going for stakes. We're going to do the 50% uh, game because that's what we've been playing, which is 50 cent no limit, which is the 9 max game. And here we go. And you'll see that two things. One you'll see is I'm losing. You'll see that my wins are all red line. So I guess my strategy, I'm not aware that my strategy is red line driven, but it certainly is. And you'll see that I got unlucky. I still
Yeah.
played bad because I'm
Yeah.
down this much,
Seeing
but
some
I'm really
variance
down.
there.
So it's a combination of not enough skill and not enough luck. Those are those two things together. And then
So
we'll
I
see how red line driven I am.
so I would argue that at times a red line driven strategy is going to experience more variance, right?
I agree.
So
I,
it's easy to see this weekend as part of that.
yeah. Yep. But I'm not consciously uh driving for red line more than blue line. I'm just experiencing it. So from what I've learned. And so but I haven't said I haven't said like Joey that I want to go for all the 3 bets that are out there. I'm trying to do my 3 bets and things with the GTO frequencies close to it, with close to the GTO frequencies. I'm not exaggerating yet because I'm learning them. Yeah, go on.
Okay.
Someone else
Hey,
said something.
I was going to ask you what's your plan when you move up to stakes? Are you going to have enough volume full ring for 100 NL on
Enough.
that site? I've never seen the volume on there.
You mean will there be enough players? I think so.
Oh wow.
We'll see. Um, let's open this. Um, I've played, I've played the 200 NL on that site. Um, they certainly had enough players at 200 NL playing in the fast game. Don't know. We'll see what happens. But I'm certainly not going to move up today.
You prefer this more than 6 max?
There's 2 reasons. One is I think it's better training for live. And we've noticed and in our study, we've noticed a worse player pool in the 9 max than the 6 max a little bit. We've seen, we've done some where we went through, 100, 200 hands at 6 max and nobody made any egregious mistakes. And we've gone in 9 max and like always we're seeing somebody doing something egregious. So I would like to play with egregious players. And I would like not to be the egregious player. So,
Yeah, I have also started playing 9MX because of our work in this
yeah,
session.
yeah. And you very often are 6 max at 9 max, like that. So that's it. But it's mainly because I want to learn I want to learn 9 max. Okay. What should happen here? I'll do the first few and then we'll hand off to somebody else. We want to go quick because we want to go through a lot of hands. But what should happen here is fold, fold, fold. Hero could raise if he wants to. Here, this is not this raise is about this is the hijack. So this is a 12.5% raise, here. Joey does it 100% of the time, and I don't mind that, but that's what this is. The ace queen, if I raise, should 3-bet me. If I don't raise, the ace queen should raise, and the king 10 suited should defend, and it should mix raises and calls by some frequency. And let me see if I know what that frequency is. Against the cutoff, that frequency should be about 12.5%. That's what I believe. Let's check those numbers real quick. And go. All right. All right. First of all, so we're in the hijack with 6-5 suited. And so here we see there's your 6-5 suited, 13.2%. I suck at this game. When we raise, the ace queen is of course going to 3-bet us. Yep, that's easy. And when the cutoff raises, if that's what happens, the big blind, I said that king 10 suited is going to be about 12.5%. 11.4, close enough. Okay, here we go. I do the raise. I get 3-bet. The king 10 suited should fold now, I think. He doesn't. I believe that that's a fold. Raise.
There are no flats in the big blind here. From the
Yeah,
three-bet.
yeah. That's just wacko. Yep. He doesn't. He has a few raises and mostly folds. And I believe that I am 100% call here. Against his, when he folds, I'm 100% call. And I can't imagine that with there it is, 100% call. And I can't imagine that with my cards, I would rather, that his call affects me, because we have to play tighter, but this is a hand that neither of them have. You know, my 5 is good, my 6 is good almost all the time, like that. And by that, I don't mean that they don't have an overpair. I mean that I'm not dominated. So I'm guessing that sometimes the jack 10 or the 10-9 might fold. Yeah. And the reason that this is, see how that jack 10 is folding a lot and these lower ones aren't, is that these can be dominated and you can lose a lot of money when you hit your jack like that. These are not dominated. And the other reason might be we have these all the time. And so since we only have these a little bit of the time, we can afford to lose the money on them. Maybe that also is an effect. I don't know, but we call. There we go. All right. We are either going to make a bunch of money or lose a bunch of money. We're not folding. Check. So maybe we are folding. Maybe we are folding.
It's a tough one. So this is an important one to see, right? Because we do see this kind of crazy behavior.
Yeah. Here's a guy who says, I hope both of them missed. Now, we are in the sand, which is bad. We know that we just assume our flush is good. That's how we play poker. Our flush is good. We're getting the right odds to get to the river here because he's all in.
Yeah.
We're going to flush about 33% of the time. We also have 2 backdoor straights. I don't expect them, but we have them, and that's 2 backdoor straights together is at least another 1%. So
This is an incredibly difficult spot.
this is not a bad call unless villain 5 pops over it. And if villain 5 pops over it, we will unfortunately have the odds to call that too. And we will put in all our money.
Yeah.
So we call, villain 5 goes away. That's perfect. And we either get there or we don't. We do. Okay.
So I like your call there. It's a really it's a really tough spot.
Yeah.
But I think you made the right choice.
Yeah.
You
But if he
mentioned
had,
that- Oh,
if
sorry,
he
go
had
ahead.
money, if he goes in for 2x pot, we have to fold.
Yeah.
Because while we actually have the odds, because our 5 and our 6 are good, we can't trust that our 5 or 6 are good. We should guess that he's, I mean, the
Yeah.
hands we should be guessing he has here are a jack, pocket 10s, pocket queens. Those are the kind of hands that make sense to do this. I mean, I don't think it's a good play with pocket 10s, but it makes sense.
Yeah, I think your pot odds.
Yeah.
Allow for a call. I mean, but it's a horrible spot because he's now donking pot into an uncapped 3-bet range that is chock full of aces, kings, and queens.
Right, we do not know that this guy isn't, but again, we call 22-9-8. He jams for 87. That's 66 more. There's 66 in the pot. We put in 66 more. I mean, we end up all in. We don't want to, but each of the
Yeah.
steps of the way, we're getting the right odds. But this is really scary with him there.
Yeah.
There is a reasonable chance also that, that on this villain, I believe that there could be some stupidity here because this is a desperate bet, and bets that feel desperate are often bluffs.
Yeah, and I would argue this is why we go over these hand histories, because we're never gonna learn how to
Yeah.
play that spot in a solver.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. 8-10, fold, raise. The deuces can call, or I don't think they have any three bets there, but they can certainly call. We'll look if they have any three bets, and goes to there. I am going to hit an ace, and he's going to get tripped twos. That seems like what's going to happen. Let's just do a quick check here. We are cut off. So cutoff is an easy raise with ace five suited, obviously. And the buttons, pocket deuces. Yeah, no raises, mostly folds. These things at the bottom. He doesn't start raising till sixes is the good, and that seems like reasonable play. What I suspect is going to happen is that the 8-10 suited is going to limp, and I am going to three bet him. And I'm going to ISO him to 4.5. That's what I think is going to happen. Oh no, he raises. So I'm going to bluff raise with the best hand. Or call. I don't know what that's about. There are no calls there. I don't know where that came from. Maybe this came from something at the table, but I think this is just a mistake. You know,
I
maybe
think
he's
probably you're concerned about him just shoving over your three bet.
could be.
Yeah, I
They
don't
wanna
know. I don't know about three betting a short stack with ace five here would be the optimal play either.
Maybe that's what it
Yeah,
is.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Maybe
I
I
mean,
looked
so the implied odds that allow the magic solver hand to be magic solver hand are somewhat eliminated because of his broken stack.
right. And if there have been no three bets at this table, I can have a calling strategy in these.
And if
I
you
can-
have non-aggressive, yeah, if you have non-aggressive passive, especially loose passive.
Well, how about that? How about that? How about that? Okay.
Perfect.
So yeah. All right.
So now you're not mining. This is a weird spot.
Yeah, but I'm far enough in the back that I think I can bet. I don't have to, but I think I can. Yep, I do. Small, small based on multi-way. The ace, the two suits pushes your bet size up. The two straight draws, although the ace four is really not well represented here. You know, the deuce 3, 3, 5 are not well represented, but the 4, 5, 100%, obviously. But I think here, that the multi-way nature of the hand overwhelms everything else and says that this is a 1/3 bet. Right?
What's our smallest bet here? Or just our betting range in general, from like 20 to 33% pot, or can we go?
We can. The DTO wizard tool that we used last month did a simplification of multi-way is always 1/3 on the flop and pot size or 2x pot on the turn and river. That was
But remember, that was always three-way and we're five-way, so I don't know how that would
Yeah.
change things.
right. So we started with that knowledge, and then we also got the information that Jonathan Little says anywhere from 20 to 50% is fine, right? He says bet small anywhere from 20 to 50% in a multi-way pot. Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
I don't.
20 to 60%, but yeah.
Okay, 20 to 60. So there you go. So yeah, you could go as small as 20 according to that. I'm using this simplification of a third. Okay. Now, obviously, I'm going to now check behind. What the fuck? Well, that's the first huge mistake.
Yeah, I
That's
would have checked here.
Yeah, that's a clear check behind. I don't need to see his hand. I should think that I'm splitting with aces now. Why am I doing this? Trying to get a lot of value from his flush draw. Well, There's the call, and now I'm checking. Okay, I did it in that order. So I should have lost about this much money, but in the other order. I check behind. He bets the river. He bets the river. He might bet less than pot, trying to keep me in. So I may have cost myself 10 big blinds here. Yep. So bad play on my part. And a little bit of bad luck. This is more to the bad play than the bad luck. All right. Should go raise, fold, fold. Ace nine suited has some three bets. I'm guessing.
Hey, Scotty.
Yeah.
Back to that last hand.
Yeah.
If you could, let's assume you did check the turn, and he does bet. So 25 in the pot here. Here goes check, check. and let's say he does bet, let's say 70%, 75%, whatever.
Instant call.
You're instant, you're calling for sure. Is this a pure call for everybody?
You have no spades, right?
Here's what I'm calling. Yeah. The spades bricked and the straight draws bricked. I might fold to 2x pot, and I'm often calling for a chop, but I'm also winning against those hands.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm calling. And I'm calling fast. I'm not thinking about it very long. He's got to go bigger than 125% before I think. I find myself making a lot of those decisions in advance. So I often play very quickly. All right.
So you think that spot on the river is probably over bluffed?
No, I think that spot on the river is the combination of bluffs and chops is enough to make it profitable. He might even be under bluff. He might right here on the river. He might be under bluffing compared to the solver, which is why I'm not going to call him with a king or pocket queens. And the solver, for all we know, does some calling there with those. But in this configuration, I'm calling all my aces.
Okay.
And I probably bet ace king on the turn, even with the 4 pairing. Yeah, I would bet ace king on the turn.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But on the river, I'm not if I check ace king on the turn and he bets pot size, I'm not raising him. Especially in this huge multi-way thing, which brought him in with a 5-4 offsuit and him being in the big blind. So there we go. This ace nine, I'm guessing that this ace nine is mostly fold with a sliver of raises to the bullet.
Yeah, I think you're right. Mostly fold, does sliver.
Right. And the fives can call. Fives can call here against the under the gun easily. And they will.
Especially
And
at this stack depth.
right. And there's gonna be a flop of ace king 5. That's what's coming. All right. So there's our raise. There's a terrible, terrible, terrible play. Let's take
Good
a look.
games.
We don't need to look at that, but we are going to look at this raise. We're going to look at the low jack's response. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So this is us. We are low jack -2. This is us. Raise. And then, yeah, here's the low jack response. So it's not ace 9. Ace 9's a fold, but ace 8 and ace 10 mix. So how much a mistake is ace 9? And the reason I'm guessing that ace 9 doesn't is that that's probably the bottom of part of our opening range. No, there's no good reason. Oh yeah, we just have more. No, it's reasons I'm not going to understand why the 9 doesn't do it, but these guys can.
What's the button do? Can you see the button flatting range? Let's see how much, well, we're not gonna be able to.
Oh, when we
there's
get to the
no
button,
flats
if
before.
it went
So.
normal, when we get to the button, yeah, he can flat all his pairs and set mine.
So when you get 2 flats, I'm gonna argue, like he has here, I'm gonna argue this becomes much more profitable, especially
100%. I agree. Even though the solver says there are no flats after 3 players,
Yeah, we can't really solve for this.
it's so good. This is such a good thing. The ace nine now, I think he can come in for a call. I don't know if he should. I think he can. I think he does. I think I do sometimes. Now, this is crazy. This is madness. This is beyond mess. And now the fives in GTO world, the fives should be 3-betting or folding. And I disagree with that. This is not GTO play. He's not getting squeezed behind.
Yeah, I mean, this is a beautiful place to squeeze, but
Yeah.
people just aren't gonna find it enough.
And
Some players will, right? Some
We
players
need
will
to-
put 18 bigs in here.
yeah, we need a better play, someone better on this call to say that calling with these fives is a bad idea. We need a pro here saying, oh no, a pro would never do that, because that's what he does. And that's what I'm doing there too. And let's get ace king. Here we go. Ace king 5. Oh, no, that's fine. I can check this. I don't have any reason to bet this into a
I
5.
would check this pure.
Check call. There's a check. There's a small bet.
Okay, now if you get, okay,
This is
now it
great.
gets interesting. Now I think you're in the world of. I wonder, do you feel like you're in the world of check raises here, or is this too many flats?
I don't know. I don't think I want to check raise this. This guy's got 50. It's easy for him, it's easy for him to get stubborn with just a pair.
Okay,
One of these guys at least has a pair, at least.
true.
And I got to get through all of them? No,
You have like 15 outs against a pair though, right?
I have a lot of outs.
Yeah, I think it's 15.
I'm maybe the favorite against that, but also these could be stronger, against 2 pair, I have very few outs, and I should not be expecting that I'm only against pairs here. Yep. Let's do that. That seems great.
Nice.
Nice. I have no idea. You just turn your hand face up and bet out and go, enjoy it, boys. Nope. You hope that somebody makes a move. There you go.
I think you're playing out of position to everyone. I think
Yeah.
that this is an obligatory check raise here.
Yeah. Although I have this hand so locked up. I want to
Yeah.
get with him. What does he have? What does he have that he's going to get deep with? He's got a straight here. And he's got sets.
Yeah, so,
The
we've
worst
talked
one.
about this before, this tension between keeping people into slow playing and wanting to get stacks in.
Yeah.
But I would argue that I would argue that we go more towards a check raise here because look at your SPR with villain 2.
It's huge. I'm never
Yeah.
getting all in against him unless he has a flush.
The only way you're gonna get, you have so much SPR kind of headroom here.
Mhm.
I think you're really driven to drive this bigger on turn out of position with the nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, does anybody else feel this is a slow play? I mean, I think slow plays isn't bad, especially we can see with the result, but
Yeah, I mean, this is fabulous.
yeah,
This
but
8 blinds here is free.
I think when I'm in this spot, I'm thinking not so much about getting outdrawn. I'm not so thinking about these. I'm thinking about my SPR with this guy, zone 2.
Yeah.
And it's 9, 6. It's about 9, 7. So,
But
yeah,
let's look at something here. Let's look at let's really focus on his play now.
okay.
So we don't know his cards, but on this flop, he has chosen not to raise.
Okay, yeah,
Okay. So his range is somewhat capped. So, his sets, his 2 pairs here would really consider raising. And that's the only good thing on this board right now is a set or 2 pair.
agreed.
Okay. So he's not, so he's underweighted in sets and 2 pairs. His bet is tiny.
True.
So this does not at all this feels nothing like a set or two pair or a straight.
No, it doesn't. That's a very good
Right.
point. There's a,
The amount
yeah,
of money I've got, so the equivalent of these 8 big blinds here that I'm gonna pick up now is a raise to 12. I chase people who are drawing dead out of the pot. I mean, they start folding singleton clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah. This just doesn't feel set. This doesn't feel like a set or a straight yet.
okay, so yeah, so your flat, your slow play, if you would, is more about a sizing tell here, where no one is really representing that they have nutted value that can sustain your check raise.
Sizing tell followed by his position. Followed by his call on the flop, his small bet from final position. You get that small bet from villain 7, that's different.
Okay, I see your point.
Villain 8
So,
bets again. Villain 8 bets again, 100% check raise. Bet, call, check raise. Absolutely. No question.
Okay, so this is really about the sizing tell here, but, and also the action.
Sizing action and lots of position that it came from that position.
So the question becomes, for me here, is once you choose to slow play here, are you always slow playing river?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think with this 4 card straight out there, that can kill the action, so I have to bet out. And my bet's gonna be 40, 48, something like that. 46. And there's the straight calling.
Okay.
So. That happened. I don't have anything else to say about that hand. Anybody else have anything important to say? All right.
Oh, I never have anything important to say.
Okay, there we go. Okay, a post. And by the way, the post is early enough that we already marked this player as bad. You know, we already put a mark on this player. We don't know anything else other than a little bit impatient and not studied. But we don't know how he plays yet. The advantage of this post here is it allows our 5s to bet larger, which gets them through more, but it costs us more money with 5s. I'm going to do it anyway. There it is, larger. That is crazy dumb. Against a normal size, that's a bad call there. And does it bring in the ace-7? No, at least he does something right. All right, I shouldn't lose too much money on this. I should only lose this bet and back off now. Oh no. I win all the money. Is it possible that I have these filtered only for winning hands? My day started very well. Pot, call, and I got 73. Jam. Just jam it. Jam it and get called.
How frequently are 5s opening there in +1?
I would fold personally.
They are, let's see, this is going to be 9-handed in the tree. This is about 8%. Is how I'm doing it 8.33% because I know how I'm doing it. But it's probably about 5 or 6% if just from my memory. But it falls into that. Let's take a look. It's
And
this.
I think having the poster also down there
Right.
drive me to fold it even more, like
Right.
just pure fold for
Right.
me.
And for me, it did it the opposite. Because this combo of 5s is not one of my 8.33% combo of 5s. So I should fold this according to my frequency chart. But I raised it because of the poster. I looked at the tension of saying, I can raise. When I raise this big, it gets through and the dead money were there. So I'm not violating anything. So I'd like to do this. So it pushed me up.
I would expand my range as well when there's dead money on the table.
Yeah. And I wouldn't have expanded my range outside of, I would not have played any hand that was not in this chart. Okay. So I'm not going to expand my range to 8-9 to 10-8 suited or Jack-10 offsuit. I'm not going to do anything like that. But all these hands that are represented, including the 9-8 at 2.5%, I would consider. I actually wouldn't play the 9-8. I'm lying. But I would do the 8-7, 7-6, 6-5, 5-4. I would play them at some percent, and this poster makes me want to do it a little bit more. All right, there we go. And this should go fold, 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 fold. And the next hand, somebody else is going to narrate what should happen and then what they think is going to happen. I should raise. This should go fold, fold, fold. And the king jack offsuit defending against the hijack should not fold very often. Let me think if he does. Let me think if I remember what this damn thing is. I'm going to picture the hijack range here. It's going to take me too long to picture it. I'm not getting it. So this is what it is.
What, the king jack's action to
Yeah,
a
what's the-
hijack?
Yeah, I don't remember it. I know it, but I have to.
Split.
It's this. I know he plays. Okay, good. And now that I've looked at it, I now remember what the pattern is. It's that pattern. I should have gotten that fast. Yep. So I'm doing this. I'm actually doing should be doing this 12.5% of the time. If this were me, I should fold it. I'm sorry, I should call it. I shouldn't raise it. That's what I meant. Let's see what actually happens. I think that's actually what's going to happen. I think I'm going to raise and he's going to call. I don't think the 4-7 is going to limp in. No, the 4-7 is going to raise. This is a perfectly fine 3-bet. There we go. And now the king jack has got to fold, but he doesn't. This is egregiously bad. Anybody want to say anything about why this is egregiously bad before we move on?
Probably no 4-betting.
Yeah, he can't. First of all, he doesn't have a calling range, and this hand wouldn't be in it. But yes, he's 4-bet or fold when playing GTO here. And let's look at how bad it is. Low jack. There's my ace-10 raise. No problem. And the big blind, when he plays, he has no calls. Look at how tight this range is. His value goes down to ace queen and king queen suited. That's his value. These are all bluffs. The king 10, the king jack, those are bluffs. Maybe these are bluffs too.
Yeah, I think king queen suited's a 4-bet bluff.
Yeah, let's look at it. When he raises, our only response, we'll do, so if somebody re-raises and let's see who has more re-raises. I do. There's more raising in this range. So when I raise and it comes back on, this guy folds and it comes back on him. His ace king was a bluff. So his bluffs are what he folds, right? He has some re-bluffing. So these are not bluffs. He's going to play them. And here we see an interesting thing. You see how the queens has some folds, but the jacks, 10s, 9s, and 8s doesn't? I suspect that this is not because the queen blocks something. I suspect this is because of how often we have the jacks 10, meaning that the range that we go to the river with, the range that we go to the flop with, they want to have a certain number. We want to have a certain number of pairs compared to something else. And if we took all the queens, we would have too many pairs. That's what I think. I don't think queens are better than jacks. If we had as many jacks as queens in this range, I think we'd be folding the jacks a bunch and more than the queens. Anybody got an opinion on this? On what I just said? Could be nonsense. All right, nobody has an opinion. Okay, this is really bad. Because again, let's just look at this big blind range. This is really bad.
Yeah, that's all.
There's nothing in the offsuit region except for ace king. And ace king is a bluff. All right, so he figures something out. I'm going to lose some money. Not too much, though. He checks. I can bet this as a draw. I can bet this on the 3-bet c-bet theory. And I can check behind and take my equity. So I bet small, and he just calls. I'm not betting the turn unless I get there. I got there. This has got to be sorted into some other region. So with this, I would not say that my hand is premium anymore.
No. I don't either. I would check personally.
Yeah.
Unless you can bet and, kind of buy yourself a free check down, maybe, if there's some sort of strategy there.
I would, this is kind of a weird spot because it's hard to understand what his three bet flat range is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
but an intelligent free three bet flat range, not a GTO three bet flat range, but an intelligent three bet flat range here could include pairs that are paying too much for set money. So intelligence, the wrong word. An expected three bet flat range. That's what I want to say. Could include
yes,
pairs that are paying too much for set mines. Suited broadways that aren't ace king. You know, king queen suited, queen jack suited, king jack suited. All those you could see him doing, right? Suited connectors that he's paying too much for, and high suited connectors, 10-9 suited, jack 10 suited that he's overvaluing.
but not king ten suited.
So that seems like a reasonable expected range.
So I like a bit here and for two reasons. One, I think that you are going to check back most rivers.
Yeah.
And two, you're blocking the nuts.
Right. If I check here, I'm betting most rivers. I'm putting 2 bets in on this. It's what's the order. And now here's what I really like about a check here, which is we know that the bet check bet line is both overbluffed and perceived as overbluffed.
Okay.
And so this seems like a really good time to take that line when I'm not bluffing.
Yeah, okay, makes sense.
Hey, I really understand how this guy plays sometimes. And then there's that.
Well, we know it's not filtered for winning hand.
Nope. Come on. Come on, check behind. Nope. And he just calls. Great. And I do half size for thin value. I can get called by queen. I now split with another ace, which is why this is bad. I should have checked, but check behind is better. That's one of the hands. Okay, there we go. That seems bad to me. Even covering up his hand, that seems bad.
I'm not sure.
Egregiously bad? No. I don't think it's
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if the value bet hand.
Yeah.
Again,
And-
it's very hard to know his what kind of hands he arrives with. Because we don't know anything about his origin range.
All right. Larry, let's do a really fast version of this one. And all we're gonna look at, we're gonna call it a raise and a call here. And we're gonna see this bet check. We're gonna see what we do on the river in a solve.
Okay, why don't you move
It's
forward
not
in
gonna
life and I will put that
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, it's not going to be very meaningful, but the logic that we're faced with here, the question is reasonable.
I
It's
agree.
Let me
close.
ask you this. Did it go 3-way to the flop?
No,
Oh, it was heads up?
it was heads up. It was just that the SPRs are gonna be messed up. And his range is gonna be messed up. But luckily, his
What
king jack
about,
is in the range. His king jack is in the range that he should have gotten here with on a single raise pot. You were saying.
yeah, I was gonna say if there was another way we could set it up, but I can't think of another way.
No, this is good. This is
You want to do it?
You ready with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. First solve of the day. Heart, spade. Yeah, got this right. Okay, so he doesn't, we'll just go through this quickly, won't dive in too deep. Villain has ace of spades, 10 of spades. You love this flop, clearly. What was your bet size
I
in
bet
game?
small. I bet small. I bet a third, which was 7 big blinds, but it was a
Which
third.
would probably be right in the 3-bet pot. Like you wouldn't see a lot of big.
Yeah.
Bets.
Okay, now you've got there, he called, supposed to call those
He called his king
jacks.
jack, which is the right play for him.
Now it gets interesting because we get the ace of diamonds. He's supposed to check pure. Now what do your aces do?
Based on suited mixes, mostly bets.
Yeah, I just think that you're just so different in ranges because of the
Yeah.
three bet.
But again, we don't break the solver with a check.
Yeah, you're mixing, I think, yeah, your region is right in there, because you've got additional equity available to you.
Yeah.
Here and here, alright?
And his range should be much stronger than his range is in this solve because of the three bet. Now, it wasn't.
I don't know why these middle check and the bottom bet. Someone else maybe smarter than me can figure that out. So you chose to check, right?
Yeah. Why do the middles check?
Yeah,
They don't
I don't
have
know.
additional equity. Nope. Don't know.
What is your, the river is the jack of,
The jack of
Nine?
pain. It is the jack of clubs.
now here's the big question. Well, he's got a lot of leads, is the first thing, right?
Yep. Yep.
So this does shift equity.
Yeah. But his
So,
king.
so that he
jack
can lead with his trips.
Yeah.
He's supposed to donk with his trips pure. Well, I went check, it's not done.
Yeah, he didn't, but he's got a slip. We haven't broken the solve yet. He has a sliver of his king jack off.
Yeah.
He takes the sliver.
He checked, right?
Yeah.
And then the question is, can you value that?
Yeah, you can.
And the answer is yes.
What's the size?
This is your particular one is D60.
All right, I B50'd it.
Yeah, so you're, well,
All right, and it
you're
mostly
on the
does.
space.
But hear me out here because it's a hijack three bet and so what was it? Low jack raise, hijack three bet.
Yeah.
And then a flat.
Yeah.
So I mean the ranges are just gonna be absolutely destroyed compared to just a hijack open and a
Yeah.
big blind call.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, this is,
Right.
we're like in, I think the real question here is, yeah, it's hard to, you're right. It's hard to apply this to the in-game situation.
But I think the insight is, I think that it doesn't contradict the logic of what I played. And I'm surprised that his king jack does not check raise his trips on the river. When he checks and I
So-
bet 60.
So if he donks, well, it's not a dunk. If he bets 60,
Yeah.
what's your top bet?
It's not happy.
You're indifferent AF.
Yeah. My ace 10, as it turns out, calls 100%. Or raises, and my ace 6 folds even though they're, does the 10 play? Even though the 10 doesn't play.
Yeah, it's barely.
Because I block him from having queen 6? No, I don't know why.
But I think, yeah, Mike, you make a good point. I mean, I was curious though, if when we see that action, does he have?
But I was right on that solve that his king jack calls pure on the river. He doesn't check raise it when he chooses to check. That's what I thought I saw, and that seems surprising.
Say it again?
Take a look, just share the screen again. Give me the 60% bet and let's see his response. In this hand that doesn't track our hand, but that is still worth learning about.
So he checked, you beat 60.
I be 60.
He does not, there's a straight on board and it's paired, so he does not with his trips.
Nope.
He does
Nope.
not check raise.
He check calls. Great. Well,
His
the one-
straights are even a little bit
right. The one thing,
confused because of the pairing of the board.
yeah, even though he blocks the straight. So he played one street correctly. Okay, here we go.
What's a start for going this?
Ace, king raises, queen, three bets. We are deep as hell. Ace, king, four bets, queen calls.
Are
Let's-
we share screen?
Oh, sorry. There you go. As you can see, ace,
Oh,
king
yeah.
raises, and notice the size. Notice the sizing tell. That is a big one. We still three bet him though. And he four bets us. And we should just call. We should not five bet this. Call. He bets pot. Put your hand over his hand. You can't see his hand. What do you do with queens? One
I
overcard.
think I
and
would call the spade and fold without it.
Totally reasonable.
That would just fold.
Totally reasonable. I took that line. And said in the pot this inflated. I'm not going to get to the backdoor queen, backdoor spade. All right. Happy with that.
We have a lot of ace king too in our calling range, right? So we
That's
should
it.
have a good ace king to call that large bet there, right?
And we're super deep. Weren't we? Were we deep against him? I think we were.
Yeah, what was your stack? Yeah, 150.
We're not super deep. We're 150. Larry, you want to throw this one in? I think you're right that it would be, well, we don't, never mind. He's got that four. We're ignoring it. This four big blind open distorts things.
Okay,
It just, because he just doesn't, the pot's not that big.
Okay.
To the stack. Okay. There we go. This should fold around to villain 9, who should be raising king 6 suited here pure. The king queen, I should be 3-betting some, calling some, and never folding. Cut off. Queen 6 suited is a pure raise in the cutoff. Don't miss that. And the king queen offsuit is a pure 3-bet. This is nonsense. No reason to do that. That's where we should be. Oh, but then that happens. That is way out of line. And the king queen suited, the king jack suited, the king 6 suited here. Sorry about the confusion in words. I have COVID today.
do you really?
I do. I tested this morning, so maybe a little brain fog. So wipe your screens when we're done. So this king 6 suited, I bet that this is in the mixed 3-betting range here. I bet that's one of the 3-bet bluffs. Your 3-bet bluffs here don't come from jack 10 suited and queen jack suited so much as they come from or even suited connect. There's a little suited connectors there, but they really come from suited aces and suited kings, and they mix and vibrate all along.
I think this is a little low, Scotty,
We're gonna
for
find out.
this situation.
1, 2, 3, 4. So low jack -1 is the raise, and there he is in the cutoff. See
Nice,
it? See it?
very good.
Yeah, see this? But none of the queen jack, none of the stuff that that you might, without studying it, think is there. None of this is there. This is, which you're gonna see a lot of, and this region here. And the fact that king 7 is there and king 6 is not there is going to be a common pattern that is called by Louis. King 7 suited is He-Man. Ace 5 suited is the solver special. You see it all the time. And the king 7 suited apparently is a little heavier in these patterns. Let's take a quick look. Let's just look at this region and see against the cutoff. We're just going to go through and we're not going to learn this. We're just going to look at what these look like. Under the gun raise. There we are in the cutoff. Similar, lots of ace 5, some king 5, a little bit of this. The king 6 is there. Okay. I'm going to do this from this. I can do it faster this way. So hijack the cutoff. It doesn't have them because these are, because it inherited the queen jack and the king 10. So these being full means you don't have to have these. Go to the low jack. Now they start coming in because you don't have as much of the queen jack and the king 10. Go to under the gun 2. Queen jack is now gone. Lots of He-Man. Under the gun 1 is what we just saw. Similar. And even the bullet. Or the under the gun, or under the gun, whatever you guys want to call it. Now these are even more of the king, more here. But notice just in this, you get this region and it changes in frequencies, but this is the region you're looking at, not this. And this is going to be consistent across all of them. One more thing, and then we'll be done. Same thing, but put us in the hijack. Similar. So the hijack's response is similar to the cutoff's response across all this. So now you're getting an idea of your three betting strategy there. And same thing is going to be true. The low jacks doesn't change much. Our position doesn't change this very much. All right, moving on.
So what's interesting to see is just how tight you have to be from jacks down. I mean, look at all the folding you're in a cutoff. Like when you're in a cutoff, who's folding jacks?
Very rarely.
Yeah.
And you make it under the gun +1. I think queens are starting to see fold, or under the gun. You're starting to see queens with a sliver of folds in there. It's like, no, that's still pure. Okay, but look at no jack. I mean, jacks are
Hijack, and
70,
jacks are
80,
shook.
90% folding.
Low jack is where your queens start thinking about it. But you're not thinking very hard with queens. There you go. That's as bad as it gets for queens. And not surprising with all the players behind you to play. If you wanted to simplify this strategy and ignore where the raise comes from, I'm saying just a really simple thing. I'm saying, what is my three bet range in everything but the button? Because the button has calls. So the button's hard. But if you wanted to do a simplification of this, you wouldn't be bad to do this region here, pure, all the way down to ace jack suited, right? You're going to lose some of this, and then just do your ace 5, ace 4, king 5. Just do that. Put all these in king 5. You would not be very wrong, because there's not a single place where those are not reasonably represented. Right? They move around, they vibrate. But that's not a bad simplification. All right, moving on. I haven't learned those ranges yet. Or do I was looking at them? Okay. Once he raises, the king 6 suited, as we said, is one of the ones that can. He chooses not to. Perfectly reasonable. My king queen does not fold. This is going to be a mix of raises and calls with mostly raises. He is 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is him. Raise and the button. King queen. I'm completely wrong. Against that early, there are no calls. Put him.
Got domination issues.
Yeah, put him here. There, I'm not folding king queen. All right, thank you. Low jack. Not low jack there. Okay, good enough. So I hope I don't call. I don't. Yay me. This is, I admit he's ahead. That is a huge mistake.
Yeah, this is terrible.
That is the
Well,
other
the
one.
open was terrible.
And then this happens to him. He checks. I can absolutely bet this. If I'm going to check any kings here, I can check my suited kings that I bluffed, my king 6 and king 7. I can check those back. My king jack, I could, but king queen and ace king, those are the ones that I'm just going to bet 100% of the time.
So one comment here about that. I think you need to protect your checking range a little bit.
Mhm.
In possession in a 3-bet pot. I could be wrong. The hand actually, and you guys tell me if this is a mistake. The hand that I would check back here the most would be ace king with the ace of spades. That might be an errata.
Mhm. Yeah.
Take a look at it. That's a
Okay.
good one to run. take a look at what, with that. I think that we are gonna bet. I think we're gonna check back some of the middling kings that we're gonna most, I mean, everything's gonna mix. But I think that our high kings are betting the most, and maybe our low kings, if we ever have them, because of that 3-5 there, you know, because they've got backdoor straights. And the
Okay.
middle kings are the ones that are gonna call most. But this guy does this. And there is, I don't believe any reason to 4-bet him.
No, not with
This
the queen of
this is a call.
spades.
All right. He checks for the give up. Against his check raise, am I marginally made?
Where, yeah,
don't-
I think I would go either way here. I would be quite spooked by the size of that check raise.
I'm putting in one more bet if he doesn't. I'm betting the turn or the river.
Yeah.
I think blocking the spades. I think I
You're
can,
only really worried about maybe one. Well, there's some. It's hard to see which. It's hard to see which straight draw you would have in this situation. I would,
Yeah.
and I like having a spade. Yeah, I would check here and then
Yeah.
you bet river.
the solver is not worried at all about the straight here because in the solver, he never has 4-6 suited. He never, he has 0% in the solver
Yeah,
node.
agreed.
And we don't know that about our opponents, but we can certainly say they don't have it very often.
Yeah, the solver's not gonna
Check
have
back.
very many, hardly any sets either. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. He doesn't raise 3s and 5s that much, and kings he doesn't play this way. So I check behind with the intent of calling any bet on the river, including a spade, and with the intent of betting if he checks. But when it turns into a 4-liner, I might not bet. I might not bet this for value now. He's got to have a 6. 6, 7. He has 6, 7 in his range. He has 5, 6 in his range. He can play them both like this.
your red line has entered the chat.
Red line has entered the chat. I got to see the chat here.
No, I'm saying your red line has other
Oh.
ideas.
Yes, my red line decided that I want value, that he just doesn't have that many 6s, and now I'm ready to fold to a check raise. But I get a call from a 3 because of the check on the turn.
Jeez.
The spades brick off. My
Fish on the line.
bet check, man. Bet check bet. Bet check bet gets calls from the 3. I don't think that this is a rand. I think that this is, I think this is a learnable moment right here. We gave him his 5 outs for free on the turn. We gave him every chance to beat us there. But because we did that, we got this. We bet this on the turn. I don't think he calls because he knows another bet is coming and it seems like a stronger line. Whereas this seems like a weak line. That's the narrative I see. All right. Larry, you
We
want
wanna
to
take a look at that one?
Yeah, let's take a look at that one. Okay. Let me stop sharing.
Okay, yeah, so you're betting this. So
Okay.
I was wrong, you having protected check backs here.
Right. Okay. I just bet range.
Yeah, do you want to see what you do with your check raise? Or do you want to run through this line or is that enough?
Sure. Yeah, let's finish it.
Okay, so what side did you choose here?
I bet a third, which is in there. And with my particular,
is-
it's
It
in
is a
there.
majority choice. And then he chose violence and he went to B20.
Yeah.
He's gonna do this sometimes with his wheel draws, so maybe a little bit of that's going on here.
Yeah, he went to 20. It says banning bad bluffs, but it doesn't get those. All right.
You call pure, I mean, you begin to get shook here in this area.
Yeah.
Call. Now it gets interesting, right? Because the 7 of clubs.
Yeah.
Does he have a checking range is the first question.
Oh, yeah.
So he does have a significant checking range after his check raise did not work at that size. And just real quick. Very top of range is now protecting his checking range.
Yeah.
He sets, but he has a very low frequency. So he chose to check. Now the question becomes, what do we do with our top pair? I'm trying not to ruminate on these too much, just go through them. Yeah, so you can mix here.
Right. My suit was spade club. I'm sorry. King of clubs, queen of spades.
So the spade
Hey,
doesn't need the protection, so it checks back.
Scotty the solver.
But I would guess that we're betting pure here on this
Yeah.
side. Because we have so much of his check raise. Range is going to be spade draws.
Yep.
So here, we don't need the protection, we're blocking his continues. Here, we get lots of value from all those flush draws that are gonna call. Up
Right.
to B 125. In fact, our favorite size with this combo is B 125.
Yeah.
So we check back, well played.
Feel so good about my 8 buy-ins being gone right
4
now.
of clubs. He chose to check, right?
Yeah.
And what size do we go with our top pair? Here is the question. It's very mixed.
It's checking it. Pure
Yeah.
check. You need ace king there. Now give him the ace 3 offsuit and put the ace 3 offsuit in his range. I think this king queen is betting.
Yeah, it's not that much diff. Well, it's pretty different.
Yeah.
This
I-
is a very defensive play by
Yeah.
solver. I
Yeah.
think that, yeah, when he has ace 3 in range, makes sense.
I think Phil Galfond said that one of the ways that people study that he thinks is not good is they run their hands through a solver, and if the solver agrees with what they did, they feel good about themselves. And that that's not a good way to study because your opponents are not playing like the solver, so you're learning you're reinforcing the wrong strategy, which is why I am not going to watch Phil Galfond this week because I'm feeling really I'm
I
gonna
think
wait
that,
till-
yeah, I mean, Phil has a good point. I mean, there's a lot, I mean, I think the one thing we've learned from solver is that it's not just line checking. The value comes from understanding the range and the value comes from
Yeah.
understanding the mechanics of this. Where do the bluffs come from and why, et cetera.
But the thing that I feel really good about, which I believe I knew in game and I definitely knew in the review, was how important that queen of spades was on the turn. That's what because we said that.
Oh, yes. Yeah, blocking. Yeah, it is.
I blocked that from coming in. And that I think is an important insight. I think the idea that you bet here without a spade and you can check with a spade is not just solver approved. I think it is solver approved, population approved, logic approved, and worth learning. I don't think that's too deep a poker thing. I think that that's just good poker play that we should all be able to do.
Agreed.
All right.
All right, pass it back to you.
Thank you. Oh, there you go. Right. Zoom. Okay. Here we go. We did this one.
Yep.
That was the one we did. So this is the one we're on. Okay, we just
Nope.
did this
Yeah.
one. This is the
Yeah.
A3 queen. Here we go. Okay. Now, we played a hand that was very much like this, where he had the queen of clubs. And it was the one that I went through all the surus about because he was a 85, he was a VPIP of 85 and a raise of 3 or something. And all of a sudden he 3-bets. And it's like, it has to be aces, right? It has to be aces. But there were all these other players in. I said that they block him from having aces. And so I called with my king. We got it all in with kings and he had queens, but he did have the queen of clubs. I remember this hand. Okay, so the jack's limping is bad. because limping is bad. At this point, jacks is the bottom, and he should very strongly consider that the queens are uncapped right now. He may not even get to see,
Agreed.
he may not even get to see a flop for this.
He's in a tough spot.
Against one raiser. I mean, I assume that what he wanted to do was limp re-raise. And against a bunch of callers, that would have been fine. With this is not looking good. There we go. I see no reason to try to keep the jacks, to try to play it such that the jacks are in here. I think
This is an interesting spot because of the broken stack, right? So
Yeah.
Dylan Wong
yeah,
he has no more decisions to make.
yeah.
Your hand is so strong. I'm not sure if it's better to take his 14 big blinds and dead money now. Because he's gonna fold to a shove 80% of the time.
I don't
Or
know.
whether we want to play out of position against him. I think in position, I would think about a trap. But I think out of position, I would prefer to shove. Anybody
So
else have thoughts on this?
I don't think
Yeah,
it
I
matters
disagree
because I
with
think
it.
your stack size is just set up
Yeah.
where you could call here and then you're just
Yeah.
jamming any flop.
Yeah,
I
that's,
think it's
oh, go on.
AV to call here because, I mean, if you get it in at, what is it, 50 more big blinds and he flops a set of jacks, I mean, that's okay. I think in the long term, I think flatting here would be better in this specific situation, even out of position. Because if he stacks you with jacks, he hits a set. I mean, it's just not going to happen that often, and you're going to stack him a lot more often on a low board.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think you guys have a good point about SPR, which I
Yeah.
was totally thinking about, was that 30 plus 30 gets us to what? Yeah, your SPR then is like a 0.5.
our SPR is less than 1 when we call. We're never, we never fold.
So maybe if slow play is better here.
Yeah. But the other thing is when he folds here, he always folds equity. Right? He has, I mean, his
True.
particular hand is 16%.
So yeah, so
I knock that 16% out because it doesn't go to the queens. The
going
queens
to
make
you.
their 18% equity when I knock him out.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's a tough spot.
Yeah. So I think this is not
Both plays have merit, I think.
both plays have merit. But I just think that
It's not like we can
think that
train
his-
for this.
I think that that his bad call here, I think this is mathematically the best thing against it.
So yeah, so you're taking a lower variance line. You're saying, I want your 14 big blinds now. I'm out of position, get out of my hand.
Except I don't care about being out of position. Normally I do.
But
At this
because of the
SPR,
SPR, it doesn't matter.
yeah, I'm aware of. When I made this move, I did not think, oh, whether I'm in or out of position. I knew this thing. I just thought, oh, I can wipe out his equity, and when I don't wipe out his equity, he gets all in.
Yeah.
Because also remember, when I call, when I keep him in with suited connectors, which he shouldn't be in there with, and suited aces, which are low,
He has 20% equity.
he has 20% equity, but they also fold the flop. They fold the flops that I don't get the rest of his stack on the flops that don't beat me as often. Whereas here, they call, I get it before he gets to see anything.
Yeah, I think it can go either way. I still think
Yeah.
I mean, you would take an additional, what, 30 big blinds?
Yeah.
I think I don't think there's a clear choice here. Does anybody else feel it's a clear choice to slow play? I think some of you guys
No.
feel like,
I think so.
I said that I don't think it matters because of the stack size, but I would prefer to call just flat and
Okay.
I mean, if he's gonna get in 48 big blinds pre-flop with jacks after he already made a bad play, he's gonna be stacking off on a lot of flops that we're beating. Any 10 high flop or lower, we're just gonna stack them.
Yep.
I mean, what is the odds of hitting a set? It's like 1 out of 8? 1 out of 8 or something?
13% on flop.
Yeah, yeah, 1 of 8-ish. Yeah, so I absolutely don't argue that the slow play is bad. My only argument is that you don't have to care about that in this particular situation, position is not your issue.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
I think both are reasonable. And obviously at the time I thought this was the better choice.
Yeah.
All right. But we can't have nice things. We lose to both of them. He had the jack of clubs also. So we lose our additional 64 big blinds against him.
My goodness. Now we understand where 8 big buy-ins go.
Yeah, there's one of them. So the other hand, which was my kings against his queens, was also the queen of clubs, watching that happen, except that one was runner. That was he flopped 2 clubs, turned to club and river to club there after all the Surus. All right. So we rebuy. Jacks should raise. King, queen suited should 3-bet. Jacks should call.
You might get some calls here in the small blind from that early position.
Yeah, but I don't have him. I don't have calls in the small blind, but you're right. Notice the large sizing. Jacks and ace king so far. These,
Yeah.
This is a tell. Bye, Mr. Frosty.
I don't think it's a tell because I think he's trying to capture the post.
Oh, you're right. You're right. 100%. I didn't see the post. All right. So there we go. Still going to 3-bet him. Now I'm going to think about something different. This play is egregiously bad. We don't need to talk anymore about it. If anybody watches this on YouTube, I have 2 suggestions. 1, learn from this, not to do this. And 2, stop watching on YouTube and join us for actual study where you can get real value and talk.
Now I think you're more incentivized to squeeze at this point.
I think so too. Yeah. Let's go. Squeeze. There's our squeeze. Squeeze size. 12, 16, 17, plus 4, 21. I went to 20. Okay. Anybody want to argue squeeze sizes? Nope. Okay. And anybody want to argue for a call instead of a squeeze? I like his call with jacks.
Oh my
I
God.
hate his call with ace 2. Oh my God. Please don't let this guy win the hand. Just let me lose to jacks so that at least our messaging is correct. Well, I will be losing to jacks now. 3-way pot. Check range in first position. He studied 3-way pots too.
Pretty common slow play from Rex too, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
easy for him. The board is so dry. I pick up a straight draw. I can therefore bet. My bet in this giant pot doesn't need to be that big, but it's SPR of 1. So maybe I'm just jamming and losing to jacks. It's the equivalent of a jam. And now I know that I'm beat. And I've given myself clear odds to call. That was my point. This thing's saying that I have, there we go, 12%, and I've got 18. Yep. I did this to myself. Hi, Joey. All right. And there we go. And we lose all the money and get a king as the additional insult.
Pain.
Right. So this bet here,
This is a red line gone wrong.
this is unnecessary.
Hello?
Yeah. Hey, Joey, we can hear you now.
Hey, now you can
All
hear
right.
me.
We can hear you.
You're really quiet though, Joey.
Yeah. But you don't have to be that loud to tell me why I'm wrong. So go for it. Because I'm wrong. And not just because he has jacks.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, that's great.
Okay. What happened here?
I lost all my money.
I wasn't paying attention
Okay, I'll run it.
because I was
I'll
trying
run
to figure everything out.
I'll run it for you fast. Jack's raised, to 4 big blinds because there's a poster. Ace deuce comes along because he doesn't play poker well. I squeeze because that's what I learned to do from you guys. He calls, which is the right play. He still has not learned to play poker well. I check here at a position, my range. He checks to slow play, perfectly reasonable, call. I pick up the straight draw, which I believe I can bet, and I choose this sizing, which locks me into call or raise, and I know that in advance. I've decided that I'm sort of gonna do that when I make this bet, it's to lock myself in. And that's a mistake. But what I didn't remember was when we did our DTO study, when it checked around, was the turn bet always a pot size bet on the turn, even in a checked around pot? Does any-
The only
That's
time,
what I did. I thought it was.
most of the times it was either pot or 2x pot. The
Even,
only
even
time
when
it was,
checked too?
yeah, the only
But
time
not
it
on a
was,
check raise,
huh?
but not on it. When they check raise, that's when we had the half pot bet.
Yeah, because what was happening was that the SPR was low,
Right,
where 2E was an option to get the money all in.
right.
Now, is it the check raise that made it lower or the SPR?
So if I
it-
do
If
half
it's the
pot,
SPR here, we could do like 28, 29.
yeah, because we've got that SPR. So if I bet, let's just say 30 here. I bet 30, I've got 50 behind. I bet 30, he jams. And now I've got, so I bet 30. So I've got 28 more. So I've got 55 here, more to lose. And I don't have the odds to call for 55. So I get away from it, which I didn't want to get away from it. So that's a better play. Quick bit of this. So
Or you could check
I could check.
because you're still in a three-way pot.
Yep, I could check. But but I did pick, I picked up what I wanted to pick up there. And one of the cards that I was counting on as an out wasn't.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
if you consider eight and 14 outs, you might still have to call there.
Yeah, if I believe my king and queen are both good.
Well, say you reduce them to 12 outs.
Yeah.
Count the kings and queens as a half out each.
Yeah.
Then that's still 25%.
Yeah.
It might be close to a call still.
Yeah. Let's actually bother to do the math on that one. Just learn a little math here. Okay. So we've got. Okay, so
If you bet 30, you'll have 56
we
behind.
bet 30, I'll have 56 behind, and he's got enough, so there'll be 102 in the pot. Then the total amount will be another, what did we say? I'll have 56, so 56 plus 56. So so it's 102
Now
plus
there would be
122. Not 122,
122 in the pot.
right,
Plus your 30, 152 in the pot, and you'd have to call 56.
right,
So that's around 25%.
yeah. Yep, okay, so I can lose my money in a different order. All right. Raise of fives. It's in there. It's a small percentage, perfectly fine. This jack is a huge mistake. And for one of the reasons it's a huge mistake is this happens sometimes and you throw away your 3 big blinds. Yep, he calls it. There we go. All right,
What
we're
is,
at
is this just a bunch of hands where you lose a lot of money?
No, this is a bunch of hands where I lose, or it's a bunch of big hands I was in. But I lose a lot of them because I lost I lost 8 buy-ins this weekend, and that's what we're watching happen.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, makes for a good content. There we go. I bet
I-
Maybe
small.
the only thing to learn from this is if we have an opportunity to fold, which probably is not going to present itself.
I think we're more polarized here.
This is an easy check back on the turn. That's an easy check back on the turn. That's an easy check back on the turn.
Did you consider checking back on the turn?
I did now. But once we get to this, once we get to this, I'm not folding.
I would argue this play that he's made, especially
Yeah.
on this texture, is highly underbluffed.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's also ace, king, and king. It's also ace, king, and king, queen of clubs. And it can't be ace, king of clubs, but it's also king, queen of clubs. And it's also less than, less than
Hard to
four.
fold to this,
Oh,
these
I'm not
odd
folding.
odds.
Yeah. He has a lot of nines here. But he could have some bricked off clubs and he can bet a king. So the mistake is letting this happen. I think.
Okay, you 3-bet. So looking at from villain's perspective.
Yeah.
He has to assume ace king is a large part of your range still.
Yeah.
So when he bets when the king hits, he's saying his value range beats ace king.
Yes. Or is ace king.
Well, yeah, he's claiming 2 pair plus.
Well, two pairs weird because the board's paired. So every
Well,
king.
just
pair.
as a way of saying,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah.
He's
So
claiming
not-
a pair beater.
Does he? But he doesn't have ace king in full.
no, he doesn't.
And he may not have king queen in full.
Nope.
He may have the suited ones. I mean, because you double barreled. You're going to get rid of a lot of king queens by the double barrel. So he has one combo king queen available,
Mm-hmm.
and he's saying he could beat a king.
Yep.
So where does that put your hand?
My hand is clearly a marginally made hand, but it's not an auto fold because he's also got 6, 7 of clubs.
I would argue your hand's a bluff catcher.
Yeah, I'm bluff catcher.
That's what I'm saying. And
A
what
bluff
do we
catcher
do?
and some of his overvalues and
What
some
do
of
we do versus population with a bluff catcher?
fold, but not for but not for half pot bets. This is close to
This
half.
is more. This is more than half pot.
Or, yep, it's 58, not 40, not 44.
So, I mean,
But I would argue that we still fold to half pot bets.
Okay.
That's my guideline has been you just fold bluff catchers on the river versus population.
Okay.
And I know you're putting kings in, but I just don't think there are that many kings in his range after you double barrel.
questions I would ask myself here all right, he's claiming he's a nutted combo. So our aces are now bluff catcher. I doubt he does this with kings. He might. But it is hard to understand how you get here with any kings except some kind of king club combo. So the question becomes, is this an underbluffed or overbluffed play? I would argue that this is underbluffed.
By how much?
I don't know. I mean,
That's what
I don't know about
now his bet
population.
size, because now his bet size matters.
It does.
How underbluff? Because when they make a pot
right.
size bet and they
Scotty.
underbluff by one combo, we should fold all the time. When they make a
That-
half size bet.
Scotty,
Yes.
that rule is effective for every size. If they're one bluff short of balanced, no
For
matter
that
how large
size.
they bet for that size, you
Yes.
fold bluff catchers.
Yes.
And then
Even
the
if
other
he-
question would become, do
even
you
if
have
he
any
bets
relevant
10%.
blockers? And I don't think you really do have any blockers yet.
Yeah, if he's under bluffed for his 10% bet. Which is hard to beat.
but not impossible.
Yes.
I mean, it's always hard to fold aces, right? I mean, but especially when he can have a king X.
Yeah.
And I'm not criticizing you. I'm just trying to understand how we get closer to be a good decision here. Because I'm not sure I would make the right decision. But I
By
think a lot of
checking
the value in these sessions is to understand how we
By
can
checking.
arrive at a right decision.
By checking the turn.
Okay, that's fair. Fair board, check the turn.
When the top pair, when top pair pairs here, his continues are my aces are not happy with.
Yeah.
But here I am I'm trying to get all in against his tens, jacks, queens, and kings right now. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, I don't hate your bet.
Yeah.
I think that
I can be
but-
convinced that that 9 is not a relevant top pair in this configuration. Like I would, I don't, your turn bet is not bad.
Yeah, I would say I think the river call is much worse than the turn bet.
Okay.
Not in theory, because obviously in GTO you will have calls on the river here. Because this is strong enough to call versus a balanced range.
yeah, I'm not so curious about if it's a bad or good call. I'm curious about what is the best and most profitable decision-making process here. And if, that's what I'm most interested in talking about.
Right.
What
And
decision-making
Joey's-
process is going to lead us to the most profitable decision?
And Joey's
I-
claim is
I'm going to
super-
go with Phil Galfon's recommendation. Fold all bluff catchers on the river until you know your opponent is capable of bluffing a balanced range.
Yeah,
I
at
think
least.
that's a valid argument.
Yep.
My
You
only
know,
other
so-
critique, my
I
only
wanna-
other,
Want to
only
add
other-
one more thing, that maybe having the ace of clubs tilts his value higher.
Yeah. Yeah. That's absolutely
Good
true.
point.
That's absolutely true.
Scotty, I feel like you've kind of set yourself up for a tough session because of two factors. The filter is showing just the hands that you've pipped, and you had a really tough session where you got cooler a lot.
Right, which is why I think which is why these hands are useful.
Okay,
Do you know
Yeah.
do you know how to not lose 8 buy-ins over a weekend?
Juggle instead of playing poker.
Stop getting dealt aces and kings.
Yeah. Yeah, the aces, we had a lot of aces and kings that lost here.
hey, so back to that hand, one thing that I wanted to kind of talk about is your flop C bet. I feel like I would have lost money on the turn. I would have been all in on the turn basically.
Can we check the flop too?
Because I would have went like a large bet as opposed to a small bet on this flop.
I'm saying the same thing. I think this might be a larger bet on the flop. It's not going to help you.
In
It's
this,
not helping you in any way whatsoever to bet larger, but I think this might be a larger bet flop.
Yeah,
I think this is
I would have lost
probably
everything
gonna
you
three bet
did,
pot.
Scotty, on the turn because I would have went big here and jammed the turn.
right. So let's see. I'm gonna look at one thing here. When we bet 8 here, and that puts it to 44. Now we're betting half. So we are not that far off. We are a little low for 3E, but not super low. So we do less than a third, then we do half, and then we do just over half is how we would have gotten it in if he left it up to us. So if it was 3E this size, this 8 here should be about 10 or 12. And
Or maybe
board,
it should be almost pot and 2E.
yeah, yep, that's what Mike is suggesting.
I think on a rainbow board, 9-5-4, I think you get large bets. I'm not sure though. In a
Okay.
single raise pot, you would. I'm not sure if that applies in a three-way pot.
Ah,
Or I mean, a three bet pot.
let's see, how big are we when we start? We're 100 big blinds deep?
Yeah.
Put it in the machine, Larry. This goes. This one goes. Oh, no, it doesn't. Well, we have that king jack. We'll just ignore that king jack.
Okay, just go through the whole
Well, now,
run out.
we-
That's gonna change that's gonna screw up our sizing. Yeah, because we're gonna be at 7.5 here and not it. Yeah. Never mind. This is too big.
Okay,
The SPR is screwed up here. Okay.
no, we could. I think it's still close enough. It's only got 3 more big blinds.
No, because normally what this would be is we'd be at 7.5. He called 7.5. We'd be at 15 instead of 28. We'd be at 16.5 and we're at 28. So it changes it changes the whole 3E numbers
Wait,
by
how? Go
Because-
back.
because
How
I
did
got
we
up-
get all that extra?
because he raised to 3, which is a little bigger than normal. The call allowed my 3-bet to be
be bigger.
12.
yeah, you have to squeeze here.
My squeeze of 12 makes this a 12 instead of a 7.5.
There are some, I don't know if we could solve it at this SPR. I just want to see,
Okay,
can we still look at, I want to see
Yeah,
in
let's look
a
at it.
3-bet pot if this is a large bet.
okay, let's just do that.
On the flop,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay, can you show the river card real quick?
You got it?
No, hold on. Okay.
Okay.
Why don't you guys move on and I'll set this up?
Okay. Well,
'Cause
here
I
we
don't
go.
think the solver's changing anything from any later action
Yeah, okay.
than what Scotty did.
All right, so there we go. There's the 3. I'm gonna 3-bet this to 9. He calls. I'm going to bet. And I'm short stacked here. I'm short stacked. Well, what happened is I must have, this was as much as it let me rebuy after the ace, to get it in there. So that's why I'm short stacked on this hand. And with this short stack, bet small. There we go. Check. Now jam. Oh, no, just bet 18. Same thing. Make it easy for him to call. He gets there and he bets out and Joey would fold here. And I'm
Ugh.
not going to.
Yeah, a straight and a flush hit. Wow.
Yep,
But your
Yep,
pot
but I
odds
blocked the
are
straight
so-
and I blocked the flush. I'm not
Your
folding.
pot odds are so freaking good too.
Yeah. Yep. But there are no pot odds when you have, when all of it, when he has no hands you can beat. But I have hands, I have hands he can beat. He has hands I can beat with that line. All right.
Okay, you want to take a look?
No, because more hands are gonna go badly. Here we go. Let's take a-
No, he's talking about the hand we wanted to look at.
Yeah, I know. I'm ready. Let me go back to Zoom. Stop share. There you go. Hey, Skate.
Alright, so. He does have a sliver of 5s here, as you can see.
Yep.
Here's his range. He has no donks on this texture. Yeah, we got big bets.
This is a big bet board. There's virtually no 33.
Yeah. So I guess what drives this to being a big bet is that I think we're highly polarized here because I think he's got the nut advantage. Yeah, he's got the nut advantage by a significant margin.
And see, I thought nut advantage drives us to not bet, to bet infrequently, We don't have
Infrequently, but
a range.
big. Yeah,
I thought we were frequently in small because he had the nut advantage, but obviously not.
Well, actually, the nut advantage runs from 85% and up. So it kind of crosses.
well, yeah, well, it depends on how you measure it, Joey. I mean, you have a good point. However, if we look at it at just buckets, he had,
Yeah.
here, actually, no, I'm wrong. I'm incorrect. Sorry, guys. He does not have a nut advantage.
Right. Yeah,
I made
okay,
an error.
okay, great.
We
Yeah,
have the nut
we're
advantage.
we're the blue line.
Yeah,
Yep. Yeah. He does have the uber nut advantage, though.
He has the very top
yeah.
Yeah.
because
So,
we don't have as many 5s and 4s in range.
What's
Yeah.
interesting is that
Surprising.
he has higher equity on this board.
Yeah,
Which I think drives from the fact of, from this part of the, from this part of the linear equity, he's got all the sets, right?
yeah, and then he's got, and
Well-
and he beats us at the, and he wins the air game because he called our 3-bet.
And we've got some nines, but we really. Yeah, what's the game again? Say it again.
He wins the air game. When
Explain
both
the
of
air
us
game again
miss
to
with
me,
these,
'cause I'm not sure.
oh, when both of us miss this flop, near the bottom, he does better because his real junk has all been filtered out.
Oh, okay, because he's
He
got a
folds
denser
it.
range.
Yeah.
And also he's got fives and fours at some very low frequency, which we don't.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it is a big bet board. And
Okay.
I was just looking at that, trying to understand why. And it just like, I know sometimes it's these low rainbow disconnected, well, somewhat connected boards drive this
Uh,
strategy.
Because we're checking almost 40% of the time. When we're checking almost 40% of the time, our bets are big. So,
Yeah, I was expecting to see more like a 60% check, 40% big bet here.
but very good point, Joey. I should have lost my money in a different order. Because
So
when I
what's you,
bet big,
so what, if you bet big, what's he supposed to do with the sets? Supposed to, I think he's gonna fast play to very,
nope, he
not,
checks it.
not when you use that size, that's
When
what's
you bet
driving this.
large, when you bet large, you check raise less often.
Yeah. So he checks his fives. Now, let's see what happens with this 9.
Sorry, I just wanna see this real quick. Yeah. Okay, so we bet big and then he calls.
He calls, and now I'm picturing him with a lot of 10s, jacks, jacks, and
Oh.
queens.
And the other question, what happens when we have the repeat 9, right?
And I'm also giving him 8s here.
So we get the repeat 9, yeah, so this must shift equity to him. Cause all of a sudden he's dunking 40% of the time.
Yeah.
Which I think we've established is an indicator of an equity shifting turn.
Yes, but not with his 5s. He's still trapping
That's a,
effectively.
what's a
So-
full house now, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep. So he checks
Checks.
like a jerk.
And
So what do you do? How do our aces feel? Are our aces shook? Our aces are not shook.
Oh, our aces now go giant.
Yeah, so that's kind of what you did in game, right?
I bet 50% now.
yeah, he
Be-
bet 50%.
Because I was, but remember, but I was getting to the same SPR. So let's give me the 75, and now we're gonna have the same amount of money left over about.
Okay.
Because when I bet this 31 and he calls,
Calls.
I hate him so much.
You're saying he never fast plays
Could
it.
be she, could be she, could be they. We don't know.
It's an it, cause it sucked out on you.
Right, and there,
Oh,
and
he's
and
not
now-
supposed to lead.
No, he just doesn't have it.
Well, he has it with 7-6 suited, but
yeah, he has the bluff and he has the ace king.
So,
yeah, so we're not folding aces in the solver.
No. No, he has no hand that beats us.
he's just not doing this with many
Yeah, the
combos.
hands that beat us are
He's
checking.
doing this with less than 1% of his combos.
Yep.
But if he does do it,
No, we're
we're gonna
gonna call
hero.
with aces. It's not even close because
Yeah.
none of his combos beat us.
Yeah.
That he bets.
Yeah.
He checks all the combos that beat us.
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, he just never has taken this line. So, yeah, I think this is, I think the question to ask yourself, do I have a bluff catcher? I think the answer is yes. Is this line over bluffed or under bluffed since we don't know about user, by population? I think the answer is under bluffed. Do we have any relevant blockers? We did have the
Ace of clubs.
ace of clubs, which is somewhat bad blocker, right? Because we're blocking
Yes.
these bluffs. So maybe the answer here is you can roll a fold at some frequency. 'Cause, 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 'c
And the answer is that I should, bet big on the flop.
But yeah, and the answer is you should lose your money in a different order.
Okay. So this should be, somebody else start narrating. Who wants to take it?
I'll do it.
All right, you're up. I'll push button.
Okay, fold on to hero. Hero should get a flat, very few three bets from big blind.
And
All
here's
right,
the
it's an interesting spot. So I think hero. I think you really like having the button here. I think that we ISO, and I ISO to 4.5 or 5. He's got a very big stack, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Now the question becomes for me, guys, do you think sevens can flatten set line here, and do you think it fold?
I think it could actually potentially squeeze, well, this wouldn't be a squeeze, a 3-bet, but
Okay.
I might consider 3-betting these sevens at this point, but probably just flat.
Right,
Okay.
and I would fully expect the opponent to flat here.
Okay.
Like, for example, eights, I would probably 3-bet pure.
Oh my.
How do you lose 8 big blinds in a weekend? 8 buy-ins. No, we're getting close to understanding.
With the 4 of clubs on the turn. That would do it.
So we get a dog.
Yep.
So this is a very interesting spot. So, you've got button, and I do not say what you should do here because I think my answer is way too influenced by being able to see the cards up. So I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
I think I call here. I think I know me, and I think it's the right play.
I think from our three-way study, we know that in this position after the low jack bets, we have almost all calls and folds and very little raising.
Yep, there it is. That surprises me from the sevens, that he doesn't try to get more value from the flush draws.
Are these not scared of the draws?
Now, I think he's supposed to raise there.
Oh my God.
Told you.
You had some PTSD on this one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, you're
But
always
this
gonna
one
lose it
is
all
gonna be
here, so.
interesting. This one's gonna be very interesting as to, is it a bluff catcher or not? This one's gonna be there. There's the big bet.
Good call. I like the call.
And now the jam.
I don't think you get away from it. You see it's a paired board, that makes you very unhappy. You think he's got you have one combo of quads and 3 combos of sevens.
And then he's got all the king high flushes.
So
Yeah,
he
it is-
has the effective stack. So he's shoving 90 into 50. Does he ever do this with a king high flush?
Yeah. And does he ever
Yeah.
do this before? And does he ever do this with ace 4? Yeah, I mean, he'd
You're
like,
just not, anybody
like-
who's folding here is
Yeah, I
gonna be
don't think
losing money in the long
I
term.
don't think this is necessarily a bluff catcher. This might be stronger than a
Yeah,
bluff
yeah, you
catcher.
never get to fold this.
and you never get. And there are no.
You're very sad because it's a paired board,
Mhm.
but he should never have queens. He has 1 combo of 4s, 3 combos of 7s.
Yep. Yep,
Oh, I thought his bet was all in.
it was. He's
Oh,
all in.
that's the
I'm
pot
not.
being shipped to him on the river.
Yes, that's the pot being shifted to him on the river.
I thought he bet out 200 on the river. I'm like, what?
Oh. No, we're good. All right.
Alright, 5's too early to RFI 5-4 suited.
No,
Jack, so-
no, this
What?
5-4 suited
It's-
is very slim in this position. It's
But
less
it's in
than
there.
8%, but it's in there. It's
I
about
don't
5.
open this early.
I don't either.
I do.
Yep,
So,
right, there it is. 4.5%. If you care, if you're looking for these, it's the 7-6 and the 6-5 that are the highest frequency of this region there.
YouTube,
Oh.
if you open 7-6-5-4 and 3-4 and 6-5, like and
Not-
subscribe.
Not
I'm
three,
not
four,
three.
not
three,
3-4. 3-4
Right.
is a fold.
Right, and
You-
I think on this one, I think it's worth limiting this this to the 7-6 and the 6-5 to drop your 8-7, to drop your 5-4, and if you're gonna increase
Okay.
your range,
And
do these.
my strategy is I open all the suited connectors from there.
Okay. And that
What
means,
if you're in
course not
a
4-3.
competitive table where you've seen a high 3-bet frequency behind?
Oh, I would let it go then.
Okay,
I mean, that I don't say always as in 100% without considering what the table's doing, but most of the times against general population, I'm playing those.
Gotcha.
okay.
You're playing them
The-
for raise,
And do
And-
you guys know the difference why 5-4 suited is so much better than 4-3 suited?
yes. It makes one more straight.
Yes. Once you get to 4-3 suited, you can't make as many straights as you can with all the other ones from
Yep.
Jack 10 suited to 5-4 suited.
And that's why in all of your opening ranges, you have no 4-3 suited, even in the small blind is 5-3, not 4-3. Sorry, let's put this there. This is gonna be. So this strip here of raises that's everywhere never goes to 4-3. There is no 4-3 opening range. 4-3 is called in all big blind defenses. The 4-3 is almost never a fold. But it doesn't ever get the slivers of raise or even up to the 50% raises that these guys do.
Now,
Alright.
my reasoning for expanding to all the small suited connectors
Mhm.
when they're supposed to be folded like 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Is that against population who is not going to 3-bet you often, they're going to call more often. But you can flop big hands with those hands post flop often enough to make a profit against the average population player.
Yep, and one thing I'm gonna repeat something Joey said before. Joey is not raising here, worried about having to take it pre-flop. He's perfectly happy to go to the flop out of position with these hands against his player pool. All right, here we go. He doesn't. Oh, this is you, Larry. Go.
Yeah, sure. Checks RFI.
Mhm.
Villain 15 should 3-bet. And ace king 4 should cold 4 to like 22 big blinds, depending on sizing
What-
here.
What does King Jack do if nines only call?
Not
I mean,
bad
they can bluff squeeze.
or fold.
Nines aren't an auto call either, or an auto 3-bet. I mean,
No. Nines can fold. But just so you know, that isn't what's gonna happen. 7-8 is gonna limp.
All these
Oh, no, 7-8
hands
is
are
gonna
etched in your
raise.
memory.
7-8 is gonna raise.
Alright, jacks need a 3-bet. Nines can fold.
Jack should 3-bet. They do. Now nines should fold. King Jack should fold.
But
do.
oh, nines are folding.
Now
Yeah.
ace king should go to like 20. Well, it's a pretty, yeah, about 23 or 24, someplace in that range. Sure, okay.
There's a jam there. I believe
Good
there's a
luck.
jam.
No, in the offsuit side. I don't think there's jams in this suited side.
All right, let's find out. Oh yeah, this is totally learnable. Let's see. This is pre versus low jack. All right, so under the gun 2 raises with his not with his 7-8 offsuit, which I'd like to point out is not an opening. It's not in the charts. That's so you know.
Not in
This-
any universe.
8-7 off doesn't even open on the button, I think, does it?
No.
No, it doesn't. 8-7 is never an open.
In
anyway.
MTTs, it does.
Yeah, it doesn't open in the small blind either. But anyway, he did. The jacks, nice easy 3-bet, not 100% of the time. Great. folds around to big blind.
I go back to hijack really quick.
Ace king does some folding.
Hijack does have a sliver of four bets with pocket nines,
These are the,
but it is mostly fold.
yeah, I would call these bluffs.
I wouldn't necessarily hit the four bet with nines in that position.
But I would with queens. I wouldn't do
Yes.
the queens fold. I would put all the jacks, tens, nines, eights, 6-5s, and all this stuff into queens. And I would,
I
bother.
would try
I'd
to
hit
find
the-
the discipline fold
I'd
with
hit the
jacks.
ace five suited more than the ace four suited.
yep,
Alright, so you do have shoves here.
yeah,
You've confirmed. Okay.
I got shoves.
It is with suited. I thought it was with the offsuits.
No, the offsuit does some folding.
3%. Give me your 3%.
Crazy, crazy. Yep. So,
Nice find. Well
Yep.
played by Hero.
so there's the jam and, oh, it works. That's good.
Let me check poker coaching, see what they have with
Let's
ace
see what
king
they say.
here.
Yeah, see what they say.
So
Alright.
what do we have on?
We
low
have,
jack low
low
jack
jack
minus one.
plus low jack -1, then low jack.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go.
And we're in big blind.
We're in the big blind. Okay. So, Larry, you're narrating?
Sure.
know about
Too early for king 10. Ace king's gonna open. Villain 7 can 3-bet or fold, mostly 3-bet. And then the 4-bet from Hero should fold his ace 5 suited. Although
Poker
in theory, I
coaching
think he gets some calls. I think that's an error.
the poker coaching charts have no shoves,
Okay,
but the range is roughly the same.
yeah,
What size do they want to use there?
Well, they have the 3-bet at 10 big blinds, and we're going to 24.
Okay.
So 2.4.
yeah. And this is right, this is 3s and 9s, and interestingly, on this flop, I go, if I just 3-bet it and he calls, I might continue on this flop, but I might not. And the question is, do I get to see that ace of diamonds or not? I don't
By the way,
know.
I think in theory, villain 14 is supposed to fold jacks here at some frequency. It's not a pure call.
Yeah,
Let's see.
but in population, it's going to end up being a pure call.
Under the gun too, look at how tight he is.
Yeah.
That's the big thing in the sandwich
It
land.
is
when
important to see that.
I've capped. Yep, that's him. Queens pure fold. That's hard to do.
True.
All right, but he folds, and now the low jack. His jacks are pure calls.
Hmm.
And his queens, I think, again, this is a function of what we talked about before. I think it's because he only has jacks half the time that he calls them all the time for the number of combos.
So, yeah, I would argue that you have to give big blind a proper squeezing
Yeah.
bluffing range.
Yeah.
A cold 4 bluffing range for this to be profitable with jacks, and I don't think it's there. I
Right.
think you just get down to I think you get down to ace, king suited, kings,
Yeah, these tens are just,
queens. I think you can mix. I leave my else.
yeah, these
It's
tens are,
hard for me to fold queens there.
yeah. But I think this hand here is a hope and a prayer. But I do like the full frequency fold of ace king offsuit.
That's important to see.
Yeah, all right.
No, I think that's that hand. One more, sir.
All right. Right, then we do this one. Okay, here we go. And what we get is a limp from the king 10. And king 10 is one of the most limped, is I think the most limped hand in our population.
Yeah, so I think you go to 4, 5, 4.5 or 5. I would like 5 here, actually.
I go to
It's early.
4.5. I know me. And the ace 5 does not choose to mess around with this one. And I agree with him that this bluff, once you lose the lower half of my raising range from this position, this ace 5 becomes much easier to fold.
Yeah, I like the way you say that. I think it's important. because it's a good thought process to think about what you're doing here. He clearly has declared he's in the top 60% or top 40% at least of range, who knows?
Yeah.
And you need to think about that before you start putting in cold four bluffs.
This was a bad limp. This is a bad call. This is a bad flop. He checks.
I bet here pure like five. big
Check.
Breaker on
blinds.
2 overcards.
This is not a pure bet.
Well, Joey, we're pretty far off solvers here. So saying what's pure and not pure, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Okay,
I-
just think, who does this board favor a lot more? A limp call or a 3-bet?
A
Or
limp
a
call.
raise?
A limp call. It's got a jack and a 10 on it. He's all over jacks and 10s. And
That's-
when I have my overpairs, I'm doing very well against him. But when I don't, I'm not.
That's all you have to figure out to know that you're not gonna range bet.
Yeah.
And if you're not range betting, this is a hand that can go into a check range.
Okay.
Right. It can also go into a bet range as a draw, as a 10 out draw. So it can do both. But it's not,
But
but I
if-
agree.
Look at the other side of it. If he missed this flop, ace king is then marginal made.
Yes. So that's the thing is ace king more a marginal made hand or a draw here on this board? And then against his range. And against his range, I would think that this is more marginally made. Also, I mean, I'm sorry, that this is more of a draw.
He either crushes you or like you're on this board with a limp call range, 2-pair is very likely.
He has very few hands that don't have an 8, a 9, a 10, or a jack in them.
Right, because
Add
that's
in
mainly the
queen.
whole.
Right, and then add in a queen for the gut shot. He's got very few hands left. I bet it is a draw. He calls. He checks. I should check behind now. I do. And then that happens. How much money do I lose? Is it possible that I don't bet this? Nope, I bet 13 and he click raises me.
Well, that's easy
Ouch.
then.
Is this an easy fold or is this an easy call because it's a click raise?
Well, you're never raising,
No, I'm not raising,
so
But is
you're
it-
not losing more than 13.
Yeah,
More.
but am I losing 13? I did, I'm sure.
On this board, I would, after he raises the river, which is probably the most under bluffed area in poker,
Yes,
you have a pure bluff catcher.
yes, I do, which means that which in Joey's land is a fold. Now, fold with pot odds of 19%.
Nope.
That's my question.
Pot odds doesn't matter if you have a pure bluff catcher.
I think the one piece
Oh,
to think
it
about
doesn't-
here is that you do have a pure bluff catcher. I mean, and on a paired board, I think that's the case. A paired board with a straight available, I think it's the case you have a pure bluff catcher.
Yeah.
So I think the
so
most important first step in thought process here is, do I ever beat value? Do I have a bluff catcher? And the answer is bluff catcher. And the second question is this under bluffed or over bluffed? And the answer is clearly under bluffed.
This is under bluffed.
Like,
Do I
is
beat
he,
his
is
value?
he ever raising for value with an ace 9 on the river?
We have now seen opponents who do. We've seen people overvalue their hands. Like, for example, me with my ace king right here. But his ace 9 and his ace queen could be doing this. So could his ace jack, but unlikely.
I mean, are you blocking any of his bluffs? And the answer is yes, you're blocking like king nine. You are blocking some. Blocking
Yeah.
king queen.
Yeah.
Just a
And I
straight.
think the answer is, I think the answer is that I shouldn't be in this situation. That I should have checked, that even hitting this river, I should not have gone for value on this river. Because I'm going for value against a jack.
Yeah, this is very
Going
underbluffed.
for
Maybe
value
fold.
against a jack, and I'm going for value against an ace queen. No, I am. This is not so bad. It's just,
Nah, and it, like, I don't know, I've been folding spots like this and it's been paying off for me.
all right.
Like,
Well,
I'm sure I've been bluffed a few times.
sure.
Can I ask you a broader question here? This, uh, this is very hard to think about in game, but since you're playing on ignition, do you ever say to yourself, well, at least I'll be able to see his bluff tomorrow because I'm going to download these hand histories. I'm just going to fold.
No, but the opposite does happen in the sense where the times when you say, I just want to see his hand, that never comes into consideration.
Yeah, of course.
So what you just said is true, but I don't think of it in that order. I think of it in the other order, but I get to the same place.
Okay, yeah, I think that this is
Oh.
clearly, I mean, you have a bluff catcher. This is an under bluffed line. It's hard to know what value he's making this with, except for ace queen. But he would have to have limped ace queen, called ace queen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we get to overfold here.
Okay. Well, against
Tough to do. Tough to
yeah,
do in game.
his sizing, that was the thing, is that a size of 39 and I do fold.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, I
By
mean, this,
going this small,
the pot odds are ridiculous.
he got the extra money from me.
Bastard.
Yeah. Well played by him in that sense.
All right, maybe someone else. Joey, you want to do a couple?
Okay, Jack Queen should open.
I'm gonna have to step away, guys. I'll be back.
8-9 should technically either 3-bet or fold. However, when you look at some other charts, there is some calling. So I wouldn't like put a call out of question from the 8-9 suited. King 10. In my hands, sometimes that's a 3-bet. And if it just goes early position versus big blind to 7-6 should be a call.
Right. And some raising. That 7-6 has some raises against this early position.
Yeah, it's more of a call, but there is some raises.
Yeah. It's a majority call, but the raises are like 25%. I mean, it's not a sliver. It's a healthy 25%. So there's our raise.
That one should not be a call.
That should not be a call. We know that. And once that guy calls, this king 10 is a terrible call here. I think it's.
Oh, he shouldn't be calling there with king 10.
No, absolutely not.
He should be 3-betting or folding.
Yep. And this seems pretty low on the squeeze range against this position. I would not enjoy doing this, but the raise is better than the call. And now,
I think you just call. I would just call this now.
yeah, I think the good things about turning this into a squeeze are gone with this many players. This guy's got 536 big blinds. All right.
Okay, so what we have learned post flop is on a board like this, almost all the players except for the last to act should be checking almost their whole range.
And I, as the pre-flop raiser and being one off this guy, I do have some bets, mostly checks.
Not on 10 high.
Non 10 high?
You would get him on a king high,
Okay.
but 10 high is too good for the calling range.
Okay. So mistake, but reasonable size on the mistake.
That shouldn't be in there.
That's
When
so
you're,
hard.
when you're four ways, just let me. When you're four ways, you can't call with second pair unless you're closing the action.
Yep,
The king ten should probably call one. And the 7-6 might have a raise now since they have relative position to the person who bet. I may consider raising with the 7-6 there.
no, he doesn't have relative position to the bet. He's out of position to the bet.
After everybody calls and gets to him,
Oh, okay, I see what
he
you mean.
has relative position to the bet.
Right.
I would raise this here.
Okay. I will predict that he calls.
I wouldn't be
Oh,
surprised because that's how players play, but he got the
nice.
raise in.
I am not
So
going to the nuts. But I'm drawing to a good flush, but not the nuts.
you're drawing to a good flush. You have two overs and you have backdoor straight draw as well. I would not say a call is out of the question.
I have a good backdoor straight draw. But I don't close the action.
Right. I wouldn't fault a call.
Yeah, and I wouldn't worry that much about closing the action because of these two calls here.
Yeah, they already just called.
Can you do a quick recap? I just sat down and
Yep, here we go.
Okay.
Open the queen jack, get a call by the 5-7, then a call, then a very, very bad call by a bad call by the 5-7, a very
Yeah.
bad call by the king 10, and a perfectly reasonable call from the 6-7.
Okay, and then it went check, check to you,
Check
and you
stop pair.
see that?
I bet it, which Joey says is a mistake,
I agree.
and I don't disagree with him. Get the call there, and he does the check raise.
Okay, thanks. That's where we were.
And for
Yep.
the record, I predicted that check raise and thought it was really
You
good.
did. You did. And I call it, and then these guys get out of the way.
So he should continue. I don't like the check there. When
He does not.
when he check raises and the 10 pairs, I think he should continue.
Yeah. So what am I putting him on now? I am putting him on the value side, I'm putting him on mostly jacks. I mean, and over pairs are what I'm putting him on, but the over pairs that didn't 3-bet pre condense into the land, into the definition of jacks, and I block jacks and queens, and I block queens. And I block his good flush draws. So a 10 trapping, that seems weird when the second flush card comes in, the trapping of a 10 seems weird. But if I bet here and get check raised, I'm going to be really unhappy. Because if he's got a 10, that would be, and he chooses to check here, he should be checking to check raise all in. So I take my equity.
Well, without going through all of that, the first thing you have to consider when he checks the turn is his range is capped.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he can protect his range. Population, I would typically say, does not have a balanced protected range. And what that means is they don't keep enough strong hands in their range to be able to defend against the bet that you make.
So you like the bet here, and you like the bet to be pot size, right?
No, with your stack,
With
I
check
think
raise, with check raise, I can go half pot.
I think with your stack, yeah, you could go like 28 to 30-ish range.
Yeah. And here's here's 3 hands that make very reasonable sense for him to choose to check there on this SPR, which is he could choose to check pocket 4s and pocket 5s here. trying to get my flush to come in.
Yeah,
No.
I think that boats
Yeah.
get checked here sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
I would check my turn boat here at some frequency.
Does he bluff it? If he bluffs it, it's gonna work. He doesn't. Do I bluff?
Now this is why I wanted to go about 30, because then you got a shove here.
I just turn it into a bluff.
That works too.
Bluff out the best hand. Bluff with the best hand. Okay. Joey,
Jacks raise, kings 3-bet. Nobody else should be getting involved, but we know population's weak.
Yep.
So kings should go to about 12. Jacks should probably, with the caller, jacks might not be a call in population, or I mean in the charts.
We don't
Yeah.
know what the charts are gonna do here. We
Uh,
don't
do
have
we-
flats.
I think jacks might even fold without the caller in some.
We can check the poker coaching charts because they do have some calls.
Okay,
so who's gonna do that?
I
someone
can
do
look
that.
at it real quick. So what do we have?
Okay. You do that and I will continue the hand and then you'll catch up.
Are
So
we 8-handed or 9-handed?
we are 9-handed.
Okay, poker coaching can only do 8 hands.
We'll do 8 and that's
So
fine.
I'll do under the gun.
Yeah.
Under the gun 1 calls, and then what
Oh,
position?
It's under the gun 1 and then the
Button
button
raises.
squeezes.
I don't know if you heard me, but I think jacks even have folds even if without the caller.
yeah, you have a good point, Mike.
I would be surprised
Yeah,
if that.
do you want me to share?
Yeah, in 1 second. I'm just gonna look at this one.
Jacks are mostly a fold.
Raise there, and then the button 3-bets him. And it's back on him. Oh, yeah. Look at all that folding. Holy foldy. All right, let's look at the poker coaching chart, which has the ace-9 off call.
So we got under the gun raised to 3. Under the gun +1 calls. Button 3-bets, and we're back to under the gun. Jacks
careful.
mostly fold with a tiny little sliver of 4-betting here.
Right. Okay.
And we don't really call any of the pairs here, do we?
A little bit with 8s and queens.
These are the no rake ranges, right?
Yes.
Which at this, which at,
Which we
Wha-
meet with rake, we should be a tiny bit tighter than what the chart is.
Agreed.
but once we get to these bigger pots, the rake becomes insignificant. When it's
Multi-way.
gone, well, just when the pot's this big. Okay, the ace-9 finally gets out of the way.
And let's just go back. It should be the button 3-bet range.
Yep.
All right.
Uh,
You could share now, Scotty.
All right, here we go. But what the jacks do is call. The ace-9 gets out of the way, and then this happens. He checks. I should bet. And I can bet anywhere from 1/3 to 1/2 is reasonable. I do 1/3. He calls.
Oh my god.
Now I should check behind. I do. And now I should easily get out of the way. I should not lose all my money.
You should still not lose 16 big blinds.
Yeah, I should fold to the 16 big blinds.
Pretty tough to fold this to a blocker size hand,
In
considering the
in
action.
solver, it's never done.
Yeah,
But remember, population just has to be one combination short of balanced range, and you fold every bluff catcher.
Right, and
That's
I,
the math. That's the math. You don't have to call sometimes. You never call with a bluff catcher unless they have a full balanced range of bluffs.
full balanced range for their bet size. So if he bets one big blind here, he has to have one
Just one bluff.
51 bluffs, and he does, right?
Who bluffs for one big blind?
I've seen crazy things. I'm saying is the thing you're saying is absolutely accurate. He has to have the full set of bluffs or more for the size he's betting. And when I check the turn, I
So you
have
should have an 80%, 20% value to bluff here. I think.
Yeah. And I think that I've seen more than 20% bluffs in my life over time in this situation. Not this time.
I disagree. Every one of these that you have argued so far that why you call for pot odds,
Mhm.
it was not a bluff.
Nope. None of these were bluffs. And for this, remember, most of them are not going to be bluffs for these lines to be profitable.
Right,
I
but
gotta
what
be
I'm
right.
saying is
Or-
I
well,
am
Yeah.
based on the numbers and data. I am 100% certain that the population under bluffs.
Right. And so far in the small sample size that we've done, you have been 100% right.
Well, even if I was wrong once, like I start saying before, I know I've been bluffed off with folding
Yeah,
bluff
sure.
catchers. But the thing, I'm not concerned about that because I know I have not been bluffed off
Enough times to make
frequent enough for
big.
me to lose money by being bluffed off.
Right. Yep. Yep. That non-GTO simplification is very, very clear and maybe the right thing. And I'm going to pay a lot more attention to that. Okay, here we go.
I mean, I can list off 3 coaches that I know of. None of them at poker coaching have said this that I know of. But Nate Mevis, Andrew Brokos, and Phil Galfond all teach this.
All right, here we go.
What was
So,
that? Were you
do another
laughing at
hand,
me?
Larry?
It's on, I think it's on, I could do one, but I think it's on, Joey.
Okay. Yeah, I meant Joey. Joey, do one more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
9's open. 8-6 should not get involved, but there's enough people in population that will make the mistake and call a hand like this. Ace King should 3-bet. King
Big.
10 suited can 4-bet or it can fold.
Mm.
Right.
Look,
And I
look at
think
the
I like
I
token stack.
think I think I lean to fold, and it might only be slivers of 4-betting.
Now
I
look
like
at the
the
token
here.
stack on the button.
Yeah, I like the fold because of two things.
Oh, the stack on the button, yeah.
Back on the button and the button is responding to to someone as early as me, and he's made it extra big. He didn't go to 7.5, he went to 10.
Yeah.
So then what do 9s do? Dude, does King 10 get involved?
Nope, he figures it out.
So what do 9s do?
Oh, well, he's got a broken stack. Fold. He's got,
Larry, you're
he's-
breaking up. I
he's
can't
got
hear what you're saying.
30 big blinds behind. We don't have the implied odds to call.
We don't have pot odds to call for set mines, but we have pot odds
Oh,
to call
sorry.
for the best hand.
Yeah, I think that we fold because I think that the value of this hand is based on implied
I
odds,
think-
and it's
I
very
think we
hard
can
to
check
realize your
this.
equity out of position. So I think we fold when he's got a broken hand. Broken
I think
stack.
nines are big. I think nines are big enough to not depend on their set mining equity.
Okay, I think if that's the case, maybe against this broken stack of shove is better, out of position.
Almost, I almost think though that if you're gonna shove, that a better play is to call and shove any flop that doesn't have, 3 overcards or an ace.
Okay, I can see that.
So did you pull off the stop and go?
I don't know. I think I'm thinking more likely I did a check raise. Oh, I didn't have to do a check raise.
It was an easy call.
Called it off. Got there. So this kind of thing, this is super common, Joey. This thing, this call here, which if we misunderstood your point, this would be, well, this is, you've only got a bluff catcher, right? So you got to fold it all the time. But in this case, this is not a bluff
No,
catcher.
no,
because
no, that's on the river.
Thank you.
People under bluff the river.
Thank you. That's a good clarification. Because this type of thing is something that this bluff, you know, the thing that I said about bets is this bet feels desperate. And that is, and desperate bluffs, desperate or over bluffed. But now I see the difference. That's a really good distinction. Thank you. All right. Mike.
All right. What should happen is folds around to the button with 6-7-6 suited. That's going to raise. King Queen would 3-bet, and 7-6 would call. I think pretty much what's going to happen is maybe exactly that.
I think, yeah, I think this one, that's what's actually going to happen. Nope.
Okay, there we go. I mean, you can continue till we get to the button because whatever else happens is just pure garbage. He's got a short stack here, so that influences what I would do, because I would probably ISO this at some frequency, maybe most of the time, but I would consider just flatting as well, just flicking in the one big blind and see what goes on. But I think versus that stack and a limp, I would ISO here. I think he's got enough to be able to just sort of
Right.
try to take the dud money. So
Right.
ISO, King Queen would probably 3-bet here, and then we should fold.
Can I comment on the 7-6?
Yeah.
Okay. In general, in this spot, 7-6 suited makes a better call than a raise. However, my deciding point would be on reads of the limper. Is this a limper that you can target where he's going to play honest post flop? If he's going to be sticky post flop, I'd rather just call this. If he's going to fold everything that he misses right away, then you can raise it.
Yeah. And I'm gonna make the adjustment that I would do a lot of ISOing against later position limps with a 6-7. I'm gonna make the assumption that I've been seeing this guy limping regularly, because if he's limping 10 deuce suited, he's probably limping a lot. And so I'm looking to target him with ISOs. But in this particular case, I would rather take my 6-7 suited against these big stacks. So I would like to keep them in. That would be my thought. But
The other issue here is that, oftentimes the limp traps are from early position.
yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying there.
Okay.
So, but with all that balanced, I go for the ISO, and he 3-bets against the ISO.
So now against the ISO, I mean, I know you're supposed to, you know, if this was a single raise pot, we would call. But I think I'm folding now. I mean, it's a big ISO, or a big
Right.
3-bet, I mean.
Right, because that should be, because I should be calling 10 big blinds here with 100 behind instead of 16, but instead of calling another.
So you're folding a suited connector in position.
I don't know.
To this size, to this
I mean, I
size,
know I'm not.
and because it was an ISO, yeah, I think folding is not.
I mean, it's not even
bad.
4x.
But SPR is going to be considerably different now.
Yeah,
So you have reduced implied odds.
I'm not even getting 10-1 on this. I'm not getting 10-1. If you follow the old rule, which is incorrect, I believe, Where the old rule was 10-1 in position with pairs for your implied odds and 15-1 with suited aces and suited connectors. And I'm not getting that. But as we found out with the solvers, that rule doesn't apply. I mean, I know that I called it.
I don't think I'm ever folding. I might even four bet this some.
So I think you just have to be disciplined at this point, right? You have to understand what a three betting range is and understand the value of your six.
And see how big he
And I'm
bets.
saying that mostly for myself. But yeah, you have to understand where you are in the range.
So
Yeah.
I
When he
call
bets a
one.
third, we
I
gotta
don't-
call.
Yep, we don't fold this.
Agreed, we don't fold to that
And we
size.
expect, by the way, we expect we're behind.
And you know, we do have the pot odds. Compared to our equity.
Not for 2 cards, but yes. And now that happens. Great, let's realize.
Did they check?
Yep. Now we can get there. Turn it into a bluff.
Just check. No, just check
No.
behind.
All right, fine. We'll lose that way.
When he checks turn and river, your six is good a lot.
Right. And when it's not good, my bluff is not working very often. I mean, what is he folding here? Realistically, he could fold queens, jacks, tens, nines
What size do you use on river?
on this river. Not nines now. Yeah.
What
could-
size do you use?
Hot. We got to get him to fold queens.
Yeah, I don't, you know, I'm probably not supposed to fold it. Yeah, I think he's not folding this, obviously. But
No.
Yeah, in Sabra, I don't think he's supposed to fold queens.
And it's hard to believe, and it's hard for my play to be believable when it goes check, check on the turn.
yeah, the 9 is not an equity shifting card.
No. All right. There we go. Larry,
Ace-4,
not saying
ace-4.
Larry, Mike.
I'm sorry, what?
I said Mike.
Okay, ace-4 should raise. What should happen is it should take it. But what's gonna happen is they might even fold, who knows? Queen 8 will probably come along just because it's suited. Queen Jack probably comes along because it's Broadway. But let's see what happens. So, I mean, it should fold around.
It doesn't. And now multi-way,
Fold.
but I can make straight. I thought that this was enough to call multi-way.
I think
let's see.
5-7.
One,
If-
2, 3. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in this chart, the closest thing you can get is,
Well, we could do it on PC.
yeah, you do it on PC and I'm gonna get this one. We're gonna put him on the button where he has a call because it's functionally the same. And now the big blind,
I think 7-5 calls, but 7-4 folds.
no, it's a fold. So this is a mistake.
So we have a hijack call,
Yeah, this is a mistake.
a player.
Yep.
Raise 3, fold,
Yep, it's a mistake.
hijack call, small blind fold.
And Joey's looking in a no rake environment, right? So maybe that
Yeah.
Yeah.
calls.
It's still a fold. This is a mistake.
Yeah, it's a fold.
Yeah, this is a mistake.
The PC coaching chart isn't that much different than
Yeah.
GTO Wizard.
As played, I'm not folding this flop.
Oh, that's hero. I didn't realize that was you, Scotty.
Oh, that's me. That's me playing wrong. Yep. And even to this big bet, I don't think I fold here.
Please don't raise.
I'm not gonna raise. But I am gonna do this, which is not good. And now it's gonna go check, check. Oh, check, but now I'm gonna fold.
Yeah, now you fold.
What the hell?
I has a gut shot. I'm a calling station.
I am playing wrong, although he is all in. And so there is a level of desperation in that, but this is bad. Yep, that's bad. But there is no other bet coming after this. Alright.
I
So
think that maybe the level of desperation theory is good, but one way to think about it too is it could be fear of being drawn out too. So those shoves can also be drawn.
Yep.
Not this time. Those shoves
No.
can also be driven by a fear of getting outdrawn.
Right, and but this is he's bluffing here, he's just bluffing with the best hand.
Yeah, he's bluffing.
I mean, he's not confident in his 7. when
No,
he-
no, this is a very mergey play.
It's just, I don't have what I need to have here, which is 8s.
Yeah,
or
it's
8.
mergey AF.
Yeah, this is terrible. Alright,
Ace nine should raise, 6-7 probably. I don't know if that early you get to 3-bet it in the solver land. I'm sure Joey probably does all the time, but I know I would fold it.
it's there,
Well, there's some calls too in some charts.
but it is there as a raise. We saw it. It's in that, that area down there where the 10-9 and the Jack-10 and the 9-8 aren't. There is a little bit of 6-5, 5-4, 7-6. Just to remind you of it. It looks like this, but it's small. See, there it is.
Oh yeah, it's just bigger than I thought, actually. That's
Yeah. It's there, but it's not.
and
GTO Wizard at 100 doesn't have any calls in any positions but button and big blind.
Yes.
But when it is
Small blind. I think it's small blind calls. There's small blind calls.
oh yeah, small blind does have some calls too. But when you program the solver to be able to call from those other spots, it does mix in some calls.
Right. Yep. Yep.
okay, so they wind up folding. This should fold around, but the 2s are gonna come along.
Yeah.
And that's gonna bring 10-5 along.
Well, twos might have some calling if you look in the
Yep.
GTO Wizard.
Yep. They do.
I'm
Yeah.
calling with them at some frequency.
But once this queen 5 calls, which is very, very bad.
I think twos are worth more now.
Now the twos come in. They do it. And now the 10-5 should fold, but he's gonna call. Oh, no, good for him.
I question that 2s become a better call, but maybe it does.
Yeah,
that
I mean, there's always, of course, I mean, there's always the fear of getting set or set, but I still think they have more value multi-way
And he's
from an
sitting there
implied odds
60,
perspective.
60 big blinds, but
In poker coaching,
Oh, he's got a broken stack, yeah.
in poker coaching, it looks like they call about 15% of the time.
Right. Okay.
where's Hero? Oh, Hero has the ace 9.
Yeah.
Oh, am I still narrating? What's going on?
Yep.
Yeah, check.
Check.
Well, I mean, nobody's sitting here with queen 5, but
It's really nice to have position.
yeah. And this almost seems like you could get some denial, but
Now,
it's so
when we
weak.
looked at the solver, it was more polarized in its range selection than middle pair backdoor flush draw.
Are you talking
This-
about DTO?
Yeah,
Okay.
this would be a check. If he could have this hand, middle pair with a backdoor flush would mostly check here.
Yeah, he could have 5-6 here.
And everybody else should just fold.
How does this pot get big, Scotty?
Because I misplay it. I don't know where this comes from. I'm looking at this going, I don't know where this comes from.
You got a few back doors. You got backdoor straight, backdoor flush.
Yeah, you have two back doors. You have two
That's-
back doors and an over. That's, I think, where it comes from.
Yeah,
but
but
the big
my
size, I
ace-
think it should be a fold.
my backdoor straight is terrible. My over is something, and his bet was big. I should not
Yeah.
be.
He bet large into 2 players.
I should not be here.
And
Well-
now you get more equity.
And that's bad. Equity is bad. We know that. Now I don't
You know, I
fold.
really like a check raise here.
You think?
Even
Who-
against the paired board.
we're the only one with threes.
Why would we have threes?
Alright, go back. Yeah, I don't know. We don't have that many threes.
We
Ace
have
three
more threes
suited.
than anyone else.
You think
What's
We
his
open-
sizing on turn?
We open ace three.
75%?
Oh, sorry, I'm confusing our position. We do not have threes. I take that back. I confused our position.
Yeah, we folded our ace three unless it's
Okay,
ace
forget
three.
it.
And if we did have threes in range, this would be a dunk bet.
I raise my hand. I'm in error.
Yes.
Uh, I would call.
Now we're calling. Oh no, now we check raise.
See? I was just,
Oh, geez, this guy.
Wow.
Check.
so,
Well, no, that makes sense. A pair and a flush.
Yeah,
A lot of people like to shove that in.
I need to fold. I need to fold.
Oh, to 30%. Yeah, I guess so, huh?
yeah, I gotta go.
Yeah, it turns out I'm folding away 1% that I shouldn't be. Because my ace and my nine are good, but usually my nine is never good, and then I'm below the third, and then I'm
Yeah.
below.
One of the
And
worst
the
feelings of
ace is
poker is when
always
you
good.
make an aggressive play and someone re-aggresses you, it shoves you off your equity.
Yeah, that was,
Re-aggress a word? I just made one.
yes. So most of the losses we have seen have been bad play, not bad luck. We've seen a few bad luck ones. Most of them have been bad play.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
thought you were running
You've had some
really poorly at
coolers,
the beginning.
Scotty.
I'm not totally in line with the fact most is bad play. You have some
Many,
really
many.
bad runouts. Yeah, you
Yeah,
had some
you've had-
suckouts at the beginning.
Well, okay, they've been bad in the sense that the boards have not cooperated, but my play against those boards.
I mean, you had nut flush against house.
Yeah. Yeah, there have been a few coolers, but I will say that many of these should have been avoided. Maybe not most, many.
Maybe the more important question is, as this session continues, is the quality of your play deteriorating? And that is the more important question.
That
I mean,
ace nine looks like it.
you've had some suckouts. And so maybe the most important question to ask is, am I on tilt? And then in the future, can I identify I'm on tilt and then step away?
So a really quick recap here. This was bad. What were the other major mistakes? No, I can't remember them that way. Moving forward. I thought I could look at it and get that way, but I can't remember the hands well enough. Okay.
Yeah, you
So-
had some cool. Definitely had a lot of coolers in this.
That's some coolers. Okay.
That was where my therapy comment came from. I thought
Yes,
you might.
yes.
need some therapy.
Yes, we
Yes,
were thinking
absolutely.
we were gonna have to perform an intervention.
Yes. Although
King
this,
Queen. Yeah.
this is still cheaper than therapy.
True.
8 buy-ins is $400, and I've gotten 3 hours of therapy. This is cheaper than therapy. All right.
King Queen should raise 9-8. It is gonna have some calls on the button there. I know I typically don't, and I will call the smaller suited connectors more often than I do the bigger suited connectors. But it would also be villain and table sort of determined. I know I wouldn't 3-bet it.
And look at that. There's your 25% calls. And then when you get down to the 5-4,
Okay,
much
good.
more. Loves the
But-
5-4 and the
Is
6.
Isn't it better against population? I mean, obviously, it's against population, you're gonna have more calls with that hand than it shows in solver. Because population isn't going to play as strongly against you as a solver, making your
position.
call in position with a good suited connector more profitable.
Yeah, so are you
mean-
suggesting that maybe I should think about calling this, well, like pure basically, like all the
Yeah,
time?
I don't know, were you on with the whole call? Or did
With
you
the what?
join late? Did you
Yeah,
join
no,
late?
Mike's been here the whole time. Mike's been here the whole time.
Okay, yeah, I explained earlier that against population, I call all of these. Playing on the button in position with a suited connector is a good thing to me against population.
Yeah, okay. I'm with
It
you. I must have,
does,
How
I
about,
must have when you
it
said
does
that.
change against solver when you're playing really good players. But against population who are not as strong as solver, I think calling's fine.
I think that's one of the things that affects my decision too. When I look in the blinds and there's been like two really good players that have like 12 and 15% three bet, I figure they're
Oh.
going to squeeze
Yeah.
a bit more often than, I'm expecting population to. So I'd probably let those go.
yep. Yeah, when
But
you,
yeah, I definitely flat this, occasionally, but just not all the time.
right. How about now, though? More-
Now for sure, I'm going to flat it.
I believe the 10 deuce suited is gonna flat, because I don't think you get 446 big blinds without flatting 10 deuce suited. Ah, wrong. Okay,
Alright, multi-way, king, queen off, top pair, just plays.
Probably just checking here almost always. Although this could be a flop where you could see bet, I think, but I would still probably just kind of simplify it to check range here.
No, queen
Great.
10 is better for calling range.
Yeah.
When you're opening in an early position, queen XX is the worst board for you.
But for this particular hand, I am,
And
of course, never folding.
yeah, a call. I'm not
Just
gonna
call
raise.
here.
We're out of position, so I would check.
So,
Uh,
oh, you didn't lose money on this one.
well, we don't know yet. Maybe he bets and gets raised.
And then folds.
I would block bet, I think. I think I'd block bet here.
Yeah, I could block that.
So the reason I didn't block bet here is I was thinking I was remembering the DTO study. And
Okay,
because the flop was multi-way, I was in DTO world.
Yeah. But I think in general on this type of board, we don't go that large. But it pays off for you.
Yeah, just on the idea of, if my only bets that I have here are checks and pot, which is the DTO simplification, this after on a check turn, this river is a pot size bet, I think.
Right. But I think we all agreed that we did not
By skate.
we did not think DTO was accurate in only those two choices.
Yep.
But if we look at if this was a heads up pot going to the river heads up with this situation, our bets are not going to be this large because of the 9 queen 10 board.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, this is a polarized bet and not a polarized hand.
Well played.
Happy.
I know solver land sixes don't raise pure here. Low jack sixes. Yeah, I'd probably be raising. It would be table dependent, but I'd probably raise. And
It
then
is in the low jack, it's 25%.
yeah, so it seems about what I was thinking it would be.
And
I've been using your system, Scotty, so that spade would definitely raise it if I was like thinking of mixing.
Yep. So
Ace 10 suited.
can't fold.
Uh,
Now,
yeah,
we might get a call from the ace nine. We don't expect it.
yeah, and I'm thinking if everything goes as it should, I'm just trying to figure if ace 10, it probably has some calls in the small blind, but I think it would be villain dependent, but I would three bet it pretty often.
I would now squeeze it 100% of the time.
Yes, I'm with you. Now
Once
that we got a
nine
flat
comes in.
button, I'm squeezing.
Yeah.
That would turn up my frequency to
Question.
squeeze.
Question, small blind squeezes. Let's just say to 12 and a half. What do you do with ace jack?
Old.
Fold. Insta fold.
Nobody else is four betting it?
Nope.
No. Not even close, if in my opinion.
I'd four bet that.
You have a more balanced range than any of us do for that. I just don't have bluffs there. I just don't have any.
I definitely have bluffs, but I wouldn't use ace jack.
Right. Ace five suited.
I'd use the suited version.
Yep.
But he's not gonna squeeze. He's
I
gonna-
like the offsuit.
Oh, he's close.
Yeah, ace jack's clearly a
I mean,
fold.
I'm not gonna fault a fold. I'm not saying I four bet this 100%, but it would certainly be in my head to four bet ace jack.
Okay. This guy doesn't do. Because if
I-
this guy did it, I would fold.
What size would you use? Like a 24? Yeah, 25?
I think you could get away with 22, 23.
Yeah, you're in position against this guy.
I don't know, cause you're out of position to the other callers, but
But
I
they have
might
to
still go
fold.
like 25.
Once you go to 25, these guys have to fold everything that isn't premium.
Yeah,
There's a fold. And I shouldn't fold. Sixes.
I don't
we-
know.
We're set
Uh,
on our position.
Sixes could fold here.
I think sixes might be a fold there.
All right,
Yeah.
let's see.
I'm with the fold camp.
All right, this is,
It might
What?
be like a sliver of call, you know, like it might be a mix of with a little bit of call.
Who called?
low jack raises.
Button
Button
call, small blind
Call.
squeeze.
I got that. That's good. Small blind squeezes not to 14. He squeezes only to 11, which is nice. Not a huge difference. Back to the low jack. All right, we mix.
I think then, obviously,
this is why
your
I'm
smaller
calling.
size can give you more flats.
Right. But here we go with my mix. I'm doing it with this combo. This is the combo to do it with.
No,
Yeah.
Scotty, I disagree.
Okay.
Alright, because both were 25, right?
Oh yeah, it doesn't matter to the solver. The solver doesn't care.
No, you're making a statistical error in your
You're
range of
absolutely right.
elimination.
Yep, you're right. You're
Because
right.
you started with the six of spades, which means 100% of your range
Has
has six of spades.
Right. But this still gets it because it's the six of hearts and not the clubs or the diamonds. So the clubs and diamonds would now fold there. But the way I said it, you're totally right. And I have to remember that. And I shouldn't be doing it based on randomizing now. Now I should be doing it on his 3-bet frequency.
Yeah,
That's what I should be doing it on. But this, I don't feel bad about this play. I'll put it that way at this
it's
point.
not horrible. I mean,
Right. And he only went to 11, not 14. So even better.
yeah, I even said 12.5 when I was just,
If I were small blind, I would see bet this,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
trying to
yeah,
decide the
that's a large
sizing.
size. I was gonna
That's
say
large size.
small sizing with the six of spades, we can call one.
I don't know if we call this sign.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we can call that size.
I'm not sure either, but I do.
Now you should just let it go.
This is
Throw
an
the
interesting
six-
spot.
I would check behind myself.
I don't know.
That is our red man at. He's getting to work.
I mean,
buying.
are sixes strong enough in a 3-bet pot?
Well, it's even-
To say you
it's a
have
squeeze.
showdown value?
I mean, if you figure
On that texture,
combos of ace
yes.
king. Yeah, I don't know.
But boy, do
Sixes
they
might-
love getting sevens. But boy, do they love getting sevens, eights, tens, and jacks to fold here. And they even like getting ace king to fold here.
Yes, sixes might be a bluff there.
Oh, I'm bluffing.
Oh, I know that. But I think in a solver world, this might be valid.
Happy
Should
about it.
ace 10 check the turn?
No, I would barrel. The queen
That
is,
Yeah, I
queen-
feel
Queen is
feel
good.
like that's a good barrel card for us.
Yes, it is. I would barrel.
Yep.
We,
and that-
he has good, we've got an SPR issue. We have to bet small.
Well, if he goes 2E, if he goes pure 2E here, meaning he just jams it now. It's not 2E because he didn't have the sizing on the flop. If he goes pot size now, he wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can only do this because he checked.
Good hand.
Even if he won third pot because he's gonna barrel everything if he's gonna barrel everything because of the queen and just goes 30%, I think you have to fold.
Yeah, yeah,
If he
yeah.
bets 20 there, you have to fold.
And do you think small blinds flop bet was a little big? Like I wouldn't have gone that big.
Yeah, I don't think that was
Went
necessarily the
10.
big bet board from the small blind.
But no, but he didn't bet big. Oh, he did. You're right. I'm sorry. He didn't bet 10. That was a different hand. No, he bet big. No, I don't see anything about, I don't see this as a big bet board.
Like what, a B60?
Yeah.
More than that.
But I has the 6 of spades.
I was thinking more like 8, 9, 8.5.
Yeah, I think that should have probably been a fold on the flop too, though.
Sure.
With
But I
this,
have
with the
six-
sizing, I would call it to a smaller sizing, but I'm not
Yeah.
sure about the big size.
Yep. But I have the 6 of spades. And that's what decided it for me.
You
So-
can't randomize with the same spade after you
No,
randomize.
no,
to
that's not
get
what I
there.
meant. No,
Oh.
I have the 6 of spades on this board. I fold the sixes without a spade.
Right, but I think against this big sizing, you still fold the spade.
I think you're right too. But did I mention I has a spade?
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that in Solverland it will mix. Still, it will still call with the spade. It'll fold pure without the spade, but
Yeah.
we'll have a mix of call and fold with the spade.
Yeah, we can, I mean, you can throw that one in and just take out the call here. And you get something sensible because his small blind squeezing range is not that different than his small blind raising range.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you want to throw that in for just that much, we can. And then we'll see what that lovely river, what the turn brings. Okay.
Jack nine's a little early.
Mhm.
King's raise should take it, but let's see how the big pot develops. Probably 10-8. Okay, well, Jack nine limps. King should squeeze. Let's see if 9-6 limps behind. Good. So either you go up against Jack nine, which you must. Oh, that's just fold.
He's getting pot odds, he thinks. This is a very, very bad play. So to repeat one thing, playing out of position sucks. Playing out of position to two players doubly sucks. Is this a hand that you want to play in a position that doubly sucks? No. But I already put in one big blind. Shut up. Is this a hand you want to play out of position to two players? No.
I think
And
it triply sucks.
it does. And the 9-jack, which I think was a mistake, I don't think that's a mistake.
Not a huge mistake.
No.
I think it's still a mistake though. I don't think there should, I don't think it's 0 EV, if not worse.
Hmm.
Yes or no?
The call?
Yeah,
That seems bad.
yeah.
Wait, I missed the beginning of the hand. Oh, did Jack nine limp? Okay.
Yeah.
I was just wondering why your size was 4.5.
Right, that's why. So he bets big.
Oof.
An
I
over
mean-
pair and a straight draw. I'm not confident I have the best hand, but sometimes I do.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're just, I mean, you're not raising, but
He
now
donks, right? It's a dunk
you
big.
can fold.
He donked. I call.
No,
Let's see what he does, and this could
Well-
determine what we do.
There's my problem is his short stack is going to do this. He checks. I check behind.
Yeah, I think that's good.
We pick up the 4-liner. And he bets that much.
Oh, boy.
Should be a fold, should be a fold in, Joey land. should be a
This is a
fold,
tough spot because of the bet, check, bet.
right? But bet check bet is the most overbluffed line.
Yeah, but I think you have value beaters. Like he could do that with, could he do that with queen nine? Could he do it with well, queen jack, I guess you're losing two, but
Could so easily do this with a 10. He bets out, doesn't get there, gets there.
Very tough spot.
I'd have a hard time folding, but I bet it should be a fold, I bet.
Goodbye to the big blinds from Calling Station Scotty. And then, is it the case that any of these mistakes I'm making have to do with this guy limped, therefore he's a worse player than me in my mind? Therefore, why does the worst player get to get the pot? As opposed to the way you play a worse player who has a better hand than you is you don't pay them off.
Well, yeah, and then the ranges change, right? So like you got to think about, like, again, I kind of added that you could have a value beater versus a bad player.
Right. King, queen.
I mean, ace queen, he could limp ace queen. He could think, donking out. He's got to prevent draws from getting there, so his top pair's got to bet. That kind of thinking that they have.
Then the jack is bad for, is good for the caller's range, which is me. And then when I don't bet it, then his queen is now good. But so much of his range has a 10 in it there. All right.
Yep.
And we'll do one more.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, look at this. Queens raise, aces 3-bet, queens call. That's what should happen.
Yep. But I think we're going to just get it all in pre-flop.
Ooh, a big one.
Sizing talent.
Yay.
So do we get to premium discount our out of position 3-bet here? And I would argue we do. But you did. I would make this choice.
Yep, I did. But also we got it. It's still nice and big because he started big.
Yeah. So. Pretty good flop.
Yep. Not loving the king.
I'm thinking 3E here.
Oh,
Yep.
I go for a check for maybe a check raise. There we go. Now I bet.
I mean, you should be betting that flop pure. I get that you're wanting to check raise, but when he just flats your 3-bet, I mean,
He
I
doesn't.
think he's gonna check. He's just gonna check a ton behind.
Yeah. Okay. Now I bet small because I don't care what he has. And am I going to be able to get, will I be able to get all in with this? Yeah, I'll be able to bet all in on the river. Yeah, I'll be able to bet all in on the river, no problem. I think I probably, I think I may
Now
not.
that you've taken this line though, that you checked the flop, I don't know that you should be betting.
I'm not sure that I do. Oh, I do. I bet small.
Get
Oh,
lucky.
nice. Thank you.
Wow.
Even with his queen blocker, even with his flush blocker.
Can you review the hand real quick?
No.
Cause I had a work
Yeah.
call.
He opens to 5. I 3-bet him to 18 instead of 20. Because of
Getting cute because you have aces.
and also because his raise to 5 his oversized raise allows this to be just fine.
No, I would still go to 20.
Okay, that's reasonable.
And see that.
I don't know why I didn't see bet this. But I didn't see bet. Then I bet the flush small. Got called. Then I got beat. Made a small bet, which he just called.
I think,
I think the check on the river
go
is.
back to the turn.
Yeah.
When it goes check, check on the flop and a draw comes in, I think you're supposed to go big.
Oh, I thought it was supposed to go small.
I thought he would actually have to, would want to check a lot.
Yeah, but this hand doesn't want to check.
Yeah, when it goes check, check, when you're out of position and the board changes after check, check, the out of position player gets big bets.
Okay. Let's see if that's, let's put this, was there another one we wanted to put in the solver? Well, it doesn't matter. We didn't do it. Let's put this one in the solver and then be
I
done.
mean,
What's the river?
that's
Can you
true
show the
for-
river?
That's true for a single raise pot. I'm not 100% sure three bet pots, but
Exactly. That's what my thought was. Why? To check that. River's the queen.
Okay.
All right. You stick that in the solver. And we
I
will see.
think when you checked and bet small, the value bet on the river was fine.
Okay. All right. Raise get called by twos, flop a flush against that, lose to that. And still betting, trying to get all in. He raises. My flush is not a good flush. This is too high to fold. A
Scotty,
flush,
Yeah,
Do we-
this is too high to fold.
yeah, that's not a bluff. That's not a bluff catcher.
we
No,
need to send somebody over on a wellness check or anything.
Yeah,
Oh, we need the intervention.
yep. But I didn't go broke on that one.
how close is your brother to you?
Um,
I don't know him personally, but I know how to get in touch with him.
Yeah. I know how to get in touch with my brother too. I'm very close to my brother.
All right, you wanna look at this?
Yes. For those of you who don't know, my brother is famous. All right,
You have
let's
a
look at
famous brother?
I have a famous brother.
Yeah,
I thought you were famous. You're the juggler, dude.
Oh, I'm successful. I'm not famous.
oh no, his brother goes back
My
at
brother's very famous.
least to the 80s with his
Oh,
notoriety.
your brother's, does he
He's Dave Meltzer. He's he's a
baseball almanac guy?
professional wrestling journalist.
Oh, okay.
As I used to describe him, he's clearly the best serious professional wrestling journalist in the world, meaning he's better than the other one. But that's not true anymore. There are
But-
now lots of people who are in his field, but he's still the guy.
Yeah, he probably has the deeper connections than anybody in the.
There's a lot of
But-
news and wrestling going on right now, people. Oh my
But-
gosh.
In wrestling, the more famous you are, the more haters you get at the same time.
Oh yes, absolutely. He used to be, interestingly enough, he was the most hated man in wrestling for when we were growing up. Except in private. So there'd be these guys who would talk about it in the dressing room. They'd say, if I ever see that Dave Meltzer, I'll break his pencil neck. Like this. And then they'd call him and go, what'd you think of my match? What'd you think of my match? But no one would admit being his friend. But later in the next generation, when all the wrestlers grew up on his newsletter and his stuff, that's, if you were a fan, that's what you did. And so many wrestlers now were fans when they were younger. They love him. He's very revered. So much so that the Young Guns had a finishing move called the Meltzer Driver. That was the name of it. And the Meltzer Driver is you hold a guy up in a pile driver position, and they're a tag team. One guy goes on the top rope, does a front flip. I think does a front flip, which is a moonsault, onto pushing the guy's legs down. So it's a front flip onto the other guy who does it as a pile driver. That's called a Meltzer Driver, and that was their big finishing move.
Ouch.
And the night that my father died, there was a big pay-per-view, and they debuted a move they called the Herb Meltzer Driver. My dad's name was Herbert, where they did that same move, but they did it from the top rope to the floor, to the concrete floor. And you see the guy turns right to the camera and he mouths the words, "This is for you, Herb." And then he does the move.
Oh,
So that's how
right.
my brother
Very
is now.
touching.
Yes, it was, we were crying. It was great. Yep. So anyway, let's look at the solver.
Okay,
Don't just bet
Pure
this.
bet.
We just pure bet this.
yeah, I think king high board is just so good.
This is just so good.
I mean, look at our range here.
Yeah. So this goes off the rails here, but he doesn't fold.
No, he doesn't fold. So yeah, but you were kind of broken now because we checked, right?
Yeah, this is, we can't play.
Yeah,
Let's see if the solver gives us, if the solver just even lets us go on with a check.
it's gonna give us a warning. Right here.
No,
Uh,
it just goes fine.
Okay. And then,
He checks his queens.
check back queens.
Three of clubs.
Yeah, you don't have your aces anymore.
Yeah.
He's not afraid. He's not afraid of having, against a flush,
Well,
full house.
the-
He's afraid
the
of
thing
king
is,
full.
the 75% is really small.
Right, I didn't mean that. I meant the queens on the river. He was afraid of king and didn't raise. What a gift. Again,
Yeah.
I'm putting thoughts in his head. He might not have known he had a full house. But anyway,
Yeah, so we're mostly betting small here
so that's what we did.
after check.
Yeah, so that was, so there you go, Joey. That's the one thing.
Yeah,
I think it's after check that we.
Yeah, after
small bet.
check, when this equity completes in a 3-bet pot, we didn't follow that. So not terrible. So we bet here. We don't have aces. But we have aces.
Okay. Let's say we bet 50.
No, we bet, what did we bet? Did we bet 50? I think we
Scotty
bet,
won like 30.
I think I went 30. Yeah, oh, hold on, wrong hand. Here we go.
His queens are.
Yeah, I bet 10
are-
to 36. I bet small.
Okay. Alright, he's mixing without the club.
Right, but
Calling
he
with.
has the clubs, so he always calls.
Queen of diamonds.
Yep.
And
Now my aces, which are the equivalent of ace king, can bet,
blocker bet.
and the blocker size is 10%. And I
Six.
bet, 40%.
Yeah, his queens are
Yeah,
just,
I bet 38%.
okay, well, let's see if you get that side.
I have a 34%.
If you bet 34, what's he supposed to do with this set? Yeah.
It's not a set, it's a full
Or
house.
it's a house, isn't it? Never mind.
My
Yeah.
gosh, he has calls.
Well, this is we're in a weird part of the,
We're in a weird part of the tree, but he does have calls. He's that afraid of quads and the overfull. That's crazy.
maybe it's because it's just, he never calls better. He never calls worse.
Who knows? I had aces. Who knows what I would do? I'm a bad player.
He had a bad weekend.
I had a bad weekend. Okay.
Variance is a nightmare.
I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Okay, hey, appreciate it, Scotty.
Next week, both Monday and Tuesday, I will be gone. I'll open the room for you. But other people need hands and other people need to lead next Monday and Tuesday.
Okay, Michael, you around next Monday?
yes, sir.
Very
Sounds-
good. Gentlemen, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Thank you.
Bye all.
All right,
Bye-bye.
bye.
Oh, I don't think I recorded any of that. Oh, I did.